I need my check. all of our teachers to come to school tomorrow, all of the CPTU members, and those who do not report to work, but we're going to have to take action. Let's get a deal done. And that's the message that I gave to Jesse Sharkey.
Dr. Janice Jackson. Dr. Jackson, welcome back to the Maze Jackson Show.
I'm not going to get into whether or not this is political or not. My focus is on education. I want to be clear to all the listeners. I believe in my heart 100% students should be in school. I am a parent. My child goes to a Chicago public schools. I'm not asking parents or giving them an option to do something that I wouldn't do for myself. And I would not send students, my child or anybody else's child, back into a building if I didn't think it was safe. I think the harm that is being done by students not being in class every day is irreparable. Our kids were already struggling. They were struggling when they were going to school every day. Now, all of a sudden, remote learning is magical and kids are okay. That is simply not true. We got kids out here who aren't in good situations. We got kids out here who are finding other ways to occupy their time, and they belong in school. So let's start with that. If not now, when? So at what point is it okay to return to the buildings? We have to shift away from should they be in school and talk about how to do it and do it safely. Hold me accountable for doing it safely. But I am never going to be comfortable with kids being out of school. It's been almost a year.
Hey Chicago, it's Dawn Millhouse from the Book of Dawn. There's a lot of fake news about the COVID vaccine, just false information. So our station has joined the Protect Chicago team to help share the truth about the vaccine and dispel the rumors. I hear all the time, I've already had COVID. I don't need the vaccine. You're wrong. Get the facts by visiting the What's in It for the Black People Media page on Facebook and www.chicago.gov/COVIDVax. That's COVIDVAX. We're in this together, Chicago.
Tomorrow, as the mayor made in her comments, we are expecting all pre-K through 8th grade teachers to report to school, as well as teachers in our cluster program, unless you have an approved accommodation. Teachers and staff that fail to report to school tomorrow will have their access to Google Suites cut off at the end of the business day.
The person today on the live line, CTU, is Miss Stacy Davis-Gates. Now, y'all know, when y'all see Stacy, she finna come with the firecracker. She finna get it popping. Stacy, welcome back to the Maze Jackson Show.
The under-resourcing and the deprioritization of schools that Black children go to across this country, that is naked right now. Everyone sees the impact of that. So when we say we want to reopen and return to schools, we don't want to return to schools in the same way we left them, because what we left were schools that didn't have enough. There are only 4 school libraries on the west side of Chicago right now. 4 school libraries on the west side of Chicago. We are still fighting to get school nurses into every school before the end of our contract, as well as social workers. So this whole concept that you can return people to a building that do not have the resources and supports that are necessary before the pandemic, and certainly right now, well, we beg to challenge that. And by challenging it means that we have to pump resources into the system. And here's the point. We want to teach. Bottom line, we want to return to our classrooms. And it should not be that we're choosing our health to return to the classroom. It should not be that we're choosing to move out of our homes. Look, I have members right now who are moving out of their homes because their mothers or their fathers live with them and they have comorbidities, or their partners have comorbidities. This false choice that we cannot figure this out on a phase-in schedule where we front vaccines. Look, we live in a city where the mayor of Chicago is in charge of everything: public health, public transportation, public schools, economic development, everything. So if it is a priority to reopen schools, then it is also a priority to put forth the resources to do it safely.
The Chicago Legal Network is the collaboration of attorneys that concentrate in many areas of the law most needed in Chicago neighborhoods. The CLN lawyers focus on personal injury, criminal defense, and other issues. The CLN lawyers all average over 20 years of legal experience and are dedicated to helping the Chicago community. The Chicago Legal Network is committed to developing Black lawyers through mentorship and co-representation. So if you were injured in a car accident, slip and fall, or injured on the job, or you need assistance with criminal defense, including driving violations and DUI, check out chicagolegalnetwork.com for more information or call 773-912-3545. 773-912-3545.
You are listening to the most dangerous show in the morning. This is What's in It for the Black People Radio. Maze Jackson. Maze Jackson, the most vociferous advocate for black people in the world.
For Ruthie Moore, for Todd Stroger, I am the host of the Maze Jackson Show, asking every single day, what's in it for the black people? And if you don't like it, you can still tell him Maze said, Mayor Lightfoot, man, we ain't accepting that. We ain't accepting that. Let's go. Yeah. Let's get down to business and go ahead and address the facts, man. Lightfoot seems more lesbian than black. Rahm Emanuel's another case. He was just as tired. 50 closed schools left much to be desired. Police had Anjanette naked on that body cam. They suppressed the footage so it couldn't touch a lot of hands. Reminds me of that 16 shots in that cover-up. Both of them similar, so I went and dug it up. George Floyd killed, a lot of riots happened in the town. Southside burned and they wouldn't let them bridges down. Grandmother sick, need a prescription and plus a couple groceries. You gon' have to travel just to get it now. COVID-19 out here shutting all the business down. Not enough SBA loans to even give around. So many failed businesses that you could put them in the pile. If you don't survive the pandemic, it's gonna sit you down. We sing, dance, play ball, entertain, and crack jokes. Government infested black neighborhoods with crack smoke. System that milked us so bad, we got lactose. Still trying to find out what's in it for us black folks. We sing, dance, play ball, entertain, and crack jokes. Government infested black neighborhoods with crack smoke. System that milked us so bad, we got lactose. Still trying to find out what's in it for us black folks. Shout out to Willie Wilson, hope one day you get to send it. We need some different players in the game to handle business. Too many shady characters like Madigan and Blago. But when you really break it down, it's typical Chicago. City full of gangsters, it's what the land was built on. Same streets with hood legends DNA get spilled on. Carjackers out here lurking trying to get they steal on. Looking for a block to put them Hellcat wheels on. Let this give bogus appraisals a red line. Car crackers out here getting minimal fair time. And up to seal carry, I stay with the pipe. But Illinois gun laws giving minimal rights. Stay up on the swivel, make sure I'm moving tight. Check all of my mirrors when I pull up to the light. Pick my homie up from out of town, man, he caught a flight. He was hella nervous, told him, shorty, this a way of life. We sing, dance, play ball, entertain, and crack jokes. Government infested black neighborhoods with crack smoke. System that milked us so bad, we got lactose. Still trying to find out what's in it for us black folks. We sing, dance, play ball, entertain, and crack jokes. Government infested black neighborhoods with crack smoke. System that milked us so bad, we got lactose. Still trying to find out what's in it for us black folks. Wake up, Chicago! Wake up, world! This is the Maze Jackson Show. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. Got my co-host, Todd Stroger. Todd, how you feeling, man? You looking like a Christmas tree today. Like you Paul Bunyan. You got your big boots up. You got...
It's supposed to snow today. I don't know when, so.
Todd, it's supposed to snow like... I thought it was supposed to... Well, they said right after rush hour. Mm-hmm. Right out 11-ish. All right, so
yeah, I'm
you'll
not
be
sure
on.
how long I'll be out in the street.
You know, you stop lying.
I got to pick Claire up today, too.
Oh, okay. You know what?
And Janine may send me something.
You know, I always think, like, send you on a task before you get home.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate the missions. Like, you know what? Before you come... No, actually, really, Carrie always checks to see before she comes home. I'm so ready to come home when I'm ready to come home. I'd be like, and I'm sorry, I'm not even going to give you the opportunity to tell me to stop. Just because it's been a long day.
Uh-huh.
You know, like if you walk in this mug when it's dark and you leave out this mug when it's... Like, I feel like some days I be working like slave... What they call it? Sun up... What they call it?
I don't know.
Sun up to sundown.
What?
Remember when the slaves had to work sun up to sundown?
You're a black guy.
No, but you remember, like, they was like this, you know, like...
Oh, yeah, sun up to sundown.
Yeah.
You worked... I don't remember what it was, but...
I know what you're talking about. I heard another one.
It's not sun up to sundown. It's like... but regardless, let me tell you, I walk in this mug, it be black than a mug. When I walk out this mug, it be black than a mug. But I'm going to tell you... I'm going to tell you what, though.
I used to do that at the county. That was the worst time. I'd go home, just fall in the bed. Bam!
Man,
and wake up 3 hours later.
I fall in the chair.
Just like now, actually.
And then I fall in the chair, and then I'm like, man. And then I'd be like, I'm up. Yes, I am. No, I'm not asleep.
I think Carrie has to watch like TV series like 3 times before we get it. Anything after 8 o'clock is vulnerable to the fall asleep. I didn't remember seeing that. Okay, just go back 2 episodes.
I learned that during the day because I was binge watching Community, and then they're showing like little clips, and I'm like, I don't remember that.
Right, because you fall asleep and take your quick nap, and then you wake back up and
don't realize you missed half the episode
right.
or the whole episode.
The thing about those episodes is, though, really like sitcoms like that is like you can miss an episode and not be.
Yeah, right.
Each one of them is almost like standalone.
Yeah.
Like you can kind of tune into those and turn them off. And tune into those and then catch on right away. Like who the characters are and kind of fall in. Speaking of that, did you hear people are leaving Netflix and the subscription services?
Because it went up?
Where they going?
Back to regular TV.
Really?
Yeah, well, it's not like overwhelming droves of people, but people are going back to TV because they say it's too many choices. Right? Like they say like
too many choices on
Netflix. Like Netflix is overwhelming. Like I feel like a failure because I can never find anything on Netflix.
Yeah, right.
I'd be like, golly, I mean, they got a catalog. You know, it was a day when you couldn't find. You saw one movie came on HBO 20 times, and you watched it like 18 of the 20 times.
Right.
And now it's like everything is at your fingertips, and it's like I didn't see that at the movie, but I don't know if I want to watch. And now it's like you don't want to watch anything that's a movie really, because it's like it's over in 2 hours, and you need like something to binge.
I tell you, if we got rid of cable, I bet in 2 weeks I wouldn't even think about it anymore.
I could see that happening. All right, let me say what's up to my girl, Ruthie Moore, who is cutting out on us a little early today, if I'm correct. Did I get that correct?
I think there's a fire Ruthie got to get to.
Todd,
he
came in here on dirt with me, Maze.
He
left yesterday on dirt with me. What
With
he
you?
on?
Oh,
I don't remember.
I remember.
Todd
I thought I was
Ruthie
I
don't
thought
forget.
I was fighting Dawn yesterday.
You thought you were fighting Dawn yesterday.
Because Todd always be trying to fight people.
Todd, that's because Todd's like,
It's like
he
when
had
he
it.
feisty, he feisty.
Yeah, he had it with y'all. He like, but I saw y'all snapping. I was trying to get stuff together, and I looked up, and Ruthie was banging the
He
table.
just came, he want to argue. I don't know why he want to argue with me.
Ruthie, because I mean,
you see, I'm like Lucy. I don't even remember what we're talking about.
See, this is the thing about people like Todd and people like me.
Okay.
People only see my reaction, and then they like, dang, she tripping. But they ain't see all the times Todd be poking the bear. He be poking the bear.
Todd do be poking
Ruthie
the bear.
Be tripping too.
All right, y'all. That is Miss Ruthie Moore. You saw her. Now let me do this, cause you know we got the back cam in the building, right? We getting our swag back. We are getting our swag back. So let me say what's up. If you are watching live, say what's up to the musical conductor of the Soul Plane, Miss Sonia Escobar, who is live on camera right now. What's up, Sonia Escobar?
Good morning. I don't want no smoke. You're great. The best pause here in the office. Right.
No smoke. Well, look, that seems like we got everybody locked and loaded. So let's do this. Let's get the Soul Plane up to 60,000 feet. We are up and away. All right, y'all. Speaking of move up and away, J.B. Pritzker, did you see?
What?
He moved the legislators up in line for the vaccine.
Yes, I saw that.
And then he said in his notes, he said, yeah, I'm going to wait my turn. But yes,
I did hear him say that. And I was like, that's interesting.
No, you know what that sounded like to me?
Wow.
That sounded like a weakened governor who got mollywopped behind the scenes, and part of his negotiations to come out with his hide was, you're going to move the legislators up. It seems to me like the governor hasn't been on good paper with the legislature lately. And I'm going to guess that now with a new, Rich Miller was alluding to the fact, and Capitol Facts was alluding to the fact that there might be some beef between the governor and the Senate president. And we did.
I did see that.
Then we did, Speaker Welch did say that that the House would be acting as a check on the executive branch.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of stuff going on. I think Speaker Welch, though, I'm gonna tell you, I think he is. It's like he's governed. Let me not say he's governing. He is doing a good job of navigating the new space to ensure and secure his future. So he hasn't come out kicking people in the butt. He's kind of said, all right, let's make an opportunity. You saw Jim Durkin said he appreciated it, the coffee and all that good stuff too. So I'm sure it's going to break up a little while, but I do think that we got to pay attention because as the governor gears up to prepare to run for re-election, man, he ain't really got a lot of credit in the black bank right now.
I wouldn't think.
I mean,
he don't need it. He got cash.
You know what?
You and your logic.
I'm gonna just tell you that was literally right on point.
Thank you.
Like, I mean, I couldn't have planned the timing of that better. Because that's really what it is. It's going to come down to who's got $250 million, who's going to invest $250 million in being the governor in a COVID, after COVID. So his COVID may have been his best friend.
Yeah, but who are his enemies? That's what's important.
Well, that's what we got to see.
I mean, if they band together and like, you know what? I think I've had enough of him already.
I've had enough. That'd be interesting to see. So I'm going to pay attention. Obama Center finally got groundbreaking plans for later October. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. I was thinking about, I think I was censored on the Obama stuff. I think we kind of had to.
Yeah.
Where were we censored?
Don't you remember the call-in?
Oh, yeah.
We're very clear in our position.
Oh, yeah.
You got a good memory, Sonia.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, we're going to talk about the Obama Center. It looks like it's finally they're going to be digging some dirt, moving some stuff around. I want to know what happened with the community benefits agreement. Did that come about?
Ooh.
I think they're still talking.
If they dig in the dirt, they done some. They talking to the hand. They are talking to the hand. How about this one? $88 million in cannabis sales this month. In the month of January, $88 million. That means that within 2 months they're going to be at $100 million in sales a month. Then, if they do it in one more month, then we'll be looking at over $1 billion in cannabis sales in a year. Cannabis will outpace alcohol in 2 years. Shoot, maybe we need to buy alcohol factories. Like maybe, you know how like when the white people go to the club and they burn it up and then they move on and then they let the black people in? Maybe that's what we should do with the alcohol, since alcohol is like Prohibition 1.0 and they done moved on to 2.0.
I saw some Ciroc for like $8.
See,
75% off.
Because they ain't, watch, infused alcohol is the new move.
No, it's people already doing it.
I know. I was a part of a documentary for Abstract Mind State this weekend, and while I was there, shout out to Danny Sorge and Cookie Crooks. Beyond blessing me for my birthday, nothing I could use. I had to give it to my cousin. But he also gave me 3 bottles of infused. One was sangria, one was some peach stuff, and one was some other stuff. But it was all
sounds like trouble.
Man, they said alcohol. I think the Chronic Chef said that alcohol is the best delivery method. Mm-hmm. So be interesting to see where that industry goes. We got to figure out our way. I just want to point out, settle black.
Let me translate. 0.
Thank you. Owners.
Wow.
And they're going to open up some casinos. We saw the white guys arguing over $34 million. Sports betting, they just told the sports bettors, look, you can't make all the money, so you can no longer bet on the commercials. You can only bet on the sporting events because the Super Bowl, because like when you go to the Vegas sports book, you could bet on how long the national anthem is. Mm-hmm. You could bet the over-under.
Will be over 2 minutes, yeah.
Right, you could bet everything.
Yeah.
Well, Illinois said, no. You guys are making all the money already. We are not going to let you.
I like those prop bets.
Well,
not that I.
Do you think we could get could we get a special vendor's license to do that? Like, could they reserve all other bets beyond sports for The black, and then you got to open up a black side bet.
They could.
Could we do like black side bets?
I think black people are so creative; those would be the best side bets.
Right. I mean, I'm saying, like, could you imagine if we could allow? Okay, so let us have side bets on everything besides sports. Right. So you could bet whether Serena is going to wear black or white. Will Tiger drop out because it's back? Right. You could bet on whatever.
Yeah. Will Tiger make it 3 rounds or something?
Exactly. Right. Like.
Wow. That's interesting.
We need to figure out some ways. So I'm going to tell you guys, this Black Wealth Initiative that I'm on, I'm telling you, we need a crack committee of people who can dissect all of the industries that are, I say you start with the emerging industries because you can get in with the flow. You ain't got to crack it. Mm-hmm. Right?
Like a public policy place at Chicago State. Something like that, huh?
You know, you keep talking about the Chicago State thing. I bet you, I'm going to tell you, what the crazy part is, I bet you if we talk to Ruthie, we could probably find some white people to fund us.
Oh, no, you didn't just say that.
Yes, I did. Now, you know, Ruthie be like, the data.
Well, you know, I think it's just a certain type of way that.
that I be talking that they be like.
No. Okay. There is a certain, like formula to, like, academia and how they utilize our communities in relation to data. Like, it's almost a formula that's followed. Like, we are specimens, like, and it's a lot of money that come down for people to research specimens, like a ton of.
Of course, because we got tons of problems.
But, well, not necessarily. I think that
yes, we do have tons of problems.
But we got survival mechanisms.
I'm talking. Okay, so say for example, what if they started to do the data about economics to really repair the harm for reparations? We could get it done, but they would rather study like the detrimental things, and then that's how the whole social services racket all works. I don't want to call it a racket, but y'all know what I'm talking about.
It is a racket.
That's how it all works together because of the things that they choose to study within our communities. It just churns the system, and that's why we in the position that we in, because the people like to oversimplify it. The legislate, y'all knew how we say wealth is legislated, mm-hmm. right? So if you are connected to some of the major places within the city or the state that study data,
University of Chicago.
I ain't say that.
I said it.
It's a whole bunch of different places.
University of Chicago.
But if you connected to those things, you know the formula with how to write those grants about what's going on in the urban area to then legislate and move policy toward that grant money to fund these social services programs, because they don't really necessarily study other things that would empower us economically.
You know, Ruthie, I'm not disagreeing with you, but it's also, they got the hookup. I mean, if I know Lori Lightfoot and I'm like, you know, we got some real good ideas. Like, we'll talk to Bill Smith. And yeah, I mean, there's a point where I won't even call it friendship, but being part of the web gets you what you want.
So I think
like black people, I knew black people who thought they were part of the web with Governor Pritzker.
Oh.
And
yeah.
With the cannabis stuff. And then after it all went down, they were like, what happened?
Well, I mean, I think you all are talking about two sides of the spectrum, right?
I'll give you an example. T.O. Hardiman. That is my best example of how academia meets, like, urban. Mm-hmm. Like, it's a really good example. And look at the outcomes. Like, I feel like with the right backing, like, T.O. Hardiman could be a professor somewhere. T.O. Hardiman can be writing these theories about how he actually puts into action the work that he does on the ground. But instead, because he might not necessarily have the resources or whatever to be able to write it down in the correct way and attach some theories onto it and throw in some statistics and some numbers, he's not, quote unquote, qualified for that level of funding. Like, mm-hmm. And so that, to me, that's the best example is.
So
right
I think
now that I got.
So
yeah, that's why he's not in the mayor's web. The mayor is a big time lawyer.
So even
she wouldn't be hobnobbing with guys like
But
Hardiman.
see, even before the mayor came in, T.O. Hardiman been doing that work before.
Oh yeah, I mean, I know T.O. from Majors.
So don't put it on the mayor. It's deeper. It's deeper.
No, I'm not denigrating the mayor, She could be any mayor. I just happen to pick her because she's the mayor at the moment. I'm just saying that being in that sphere, even if it was Mayor Daley, if you're not in that sphere, they're not going to look at you the same way. If they look at you at all.
So let me interject. I think that you all are essentially talking about the same thing in different buckets, right? It's the same thing in different buckets. What Ruthie is talking about is how T.O. This is
What's the white guy's name?
Slutkin. Gary Slutkin.
Right.
But this is okay. So essentially,
I can give y'all some more examples.
I think your example. I'm not arguing with your example. I think your example
I'm not
is
arguing with
100%.
your example either.
I think y'all are
something else that's going on too.
Yeah, I think y'all are in two different buckets. I think you all are talking about the same thing, but differently. You're in an academia world
because that's where the funding and legislation goes.
I'm with you. Todd is talking about the political branch, right? Where you think that your plug is because you know somebody. Yours is how do we take we were talking about the Black Wealth Initiative and how they fund things that
keep the system churning versus getting us
keep the system of poverty and the pipeline and all that. All I was just gonna say in this whole space was this is my best example for me personally. When I was the director of urban marketing for Coca-Cola, there were promoters and people who had multi-million-dollar ideas that could never, ever get funding from Coca-Cola when it was the white guys in power. Because they didn't know how to properly articulate what they were doing on paper in a way that translated to product sales for Coke, right? Like, so you got a guy that's bringing Wu-Tang, Jay-Z, right? Before Jay-Z is, Jay-Z is bubbling. Everybody in the street knows Jay-Z, and you can get him for $10,000. And Coca-Cola, because the guy who's writing the proposal doesn't have it's the urban translator thing. It's the urban translator thing, and in reverse. Because the white guys, T.O. has the ability to make things happen in the streets. He may not have the access or the academic backing. So Slutkin sees it and says, what you're doing is awesome. Come on over. I'm going to pay you $200,000 a year. And I'm going to write a $24 million program off of what you do. I'm going to take the $24 million. I'm going to fund you for $200,000. And we charge for the $200,000. And then he funds all these people at $9 or $10 an hour, and he becomes rich. Yeah. Is that what happened?
So I would run into.
I'm not sure.
I would run into Slutkin.
Yeah, that's.
I would run into Slutkin at the East Bank Club, and
at the East Bank Club,
and he spoke, but he spoke in that manner that you're talking about. He would be like, "I'm kind of." He didn't put it this way, but I'm allowing T.O. to do this.
Well, and essentially, okay. This translates into activism. This translates into media. I'm not going to go deep. This is
the headlines. My papers.
I'm not going to go deep. But it's oftentimes...
It's the best example.
How white guys who are in the legal sphere utilize black people to raise the attention, get it all fired up, and they go do the legal work and get paid. It is, when we go on break, I'm gonna give you a real good example of how this really, really works. All right, let me hit the rest of these headlines. Rep. LaShawn Ford revisits the cannabis and will be introducing a new bill to correct the wrongs of the last cannabis bill. So we'll be looking forward to seeing how that works out. Actually, not looking. We need to be taking a look at that legislation and making sure that it goes right. Shout out to the people at Scene. Kyle Rittenhouse. They're trying to put him back in jail because apparently he moved without registering. Now, he says that the police told him, don't register. His lawyer said the police told him don't register because people will come to your house. So it'll be interesting to see if they throw him back in jail.
How do you not tell the police where you are when you're
Right, the law's a law.
Yeah.
When you're white.
I forget.
Right, thank you. Y'all act like y'all don't know how this thing go. Y'all better stop acting crazy around these parts. Face coverings. I was telling y'all about this. Who enforces face coverings? They were saying on CTA. People get on and be like, "What?" I'm telling you, bus driver be like, "I ain't saying nothing."
Did you like your birthday gift?
I love my birthday gift. Shout out to Sonia Escobar. Sonia with the fashionable Phi Beta Sigma. I can actually wrap my hair. I can cover my nose and my face. It's actually, you know what, Sonia, you know what, like my best Perry really comes from you. Like I don't really got that much Perry no more. So every year Sonia gets me like a great Phi Beta Sigma joint. I'm telling you. All right, y'all. And I did the game. All right, let's move on to the social media question of the day. Sonia, find me the big voice and get me ready. You ready? Let's do it.
It's time for the social media question of the day.
So I was thinking about the governor moving up the legislators to prioritize them to get the shots. And I also caught his little dig, what I took as a dig when he said, "No, I'm going to wait my turn." Right? It got me to thinking about the 5 W's. The 5 W's of the shot. So let me go through them. So the who gets it, right? Who gets the shot? What is it? The COVID-19 vaccine. Where can you get it? Like, what are the locations that you can get it? And who gets it at those locations? When can you get it? Like, when do you RSVP? When do you get your appointment? And why? Why do you get your shot when you get it? I was thinking about the political W's of the COVID-19 vaccine in Chicago. And I want to know, what are the 5 W's, right? So I'm going to go to who. Like, who gets the shot? Right? Like, the average. So right now we're at what? 65 and up? 65 and up. Are there, one of the big fights that we see with the teachers is the teachers want to be moved up on the shot list? We also saw that the legislators want to be moved up on the shot list. What are your thoughts? Should they be moved up on the shot list? And are there political ramifications? Does it send a signal? I think what I also want to do is I want to open up the phone lines. So I'm going to open up the phone lines. But let's start here. Who should get the shot? In my estimation, you get it where you get it. Like, you get it when it comes to your group. Should people be jumped out of their group and made a priority and been put to the front of the line? And under what circumstances should that happen? Give us a call, 872-259-7474. Ruthie, I did your thing. Do it. Could you tell the people the number to call?
Say the number slow. 872-259-7474.
All right, Todd. You said you didn't have a problem. Talk to me. Who should get the shot? And should someone be moved up to the front of the line under what circumstances?
Yeah. Well, when I think about it, when I was a legislator, I was young. I would, but there were, all kind of legislators. Some I think may have been 70, but I would say I don't see any real reason for them to be moved up. some of them are going to be above 65, and then most of them are just going to be healthy. So I don't see any reason why they need to be moved up the line. Of course, if it's not being used in certain places, because I talked to the president of our hospital, South Shore, and he said, some people don't want to take it. So that means that you have some left. So, yeah, you redirect them to homes, elder people, frontline workers, all that kind of stuff. That makes sense. But I think you're right. The governor was taking a shot at the legislature, so that must have been something that they negotiated.
Yeah, it seemed to me like it wasn't like he was happily doing it.
Yeah.
It seemed like, and when they asked him about it, and I thought about it. Remember when I brought this up when the mayor sat down in the chair and she was big pimping in the chair, the arm shot, She had her guns out, sleeves rolled up. I was waiting for her to put a pack of cigarettes up there. Remember that? Remember when they rolled up their shirt sleeve and they had a pack of cigarettes? But, so, who gets the jurisdiction over the shots that people don't take? But let me back up. Let me go to you, Ruthie.
Man, I don't know.
Should. See, no, Ruthie, because Ruthie,
Ruthie
should.
used all her fire up in the first section.
Let me ask you, should people be moved up and prioritized? Like, should you be able to jump to the front of the line outside of your category?
I don't think we should be rigid with that type of thing, because I think stuff will change as we know more about it. Like how people over 80 was passing away. So it's let's change the recommendations now. So I think that things can change in the blink of an eye, and we got to be flexible.
So I think that's fine, but do you move? Are there categories of people, not based on health, but based on class? That should be, because
what you mean by that? Because it's so easy.
Okay, so political class. Should the political class be moved to the front of the line?
Are they 65 and older?
No. They're legislators.
Do they have but I think maybe the ones who meet the guide, it's people who legislate who are 65 and older. Mm-hmm. They probably got a pre-existing condition. They might even be a healthcare worker.
I'm saying, but should it be a blanket? Do you have to? So all of those are categories that you fit in that would prioritize you.
If they don't fit in all, they should fit in the category. But it's easy to fit in these categories.
That's my point. So, if you don't fit in the category, should the fact that just because you're an elected official, and does it make a difference what you do as an elected official?
If you are an elected official, I feel like you likely can fit within the category.
I think that's broad.
No, not necessarily, because there's a lot of legislators who don't have side jobs, and if they do, they're like lawyers.
Right. I think as you think.
Are they essential workers?
That's what I'm asking.
I'm asking you. Are they essential workers?
It depends.
You mean legislators?
Yes. Are elected officials? Are they essential
elected
workers?
officials is a different thing than.
So
what y'all think? Should they be classified as
some should
essential workers?
I think some should.
That's why I don't think we can put a blanket on it. It has to literally be case by case.
So okay, in the case of what just happened in Springfield, should every legislator, regardless of what category they fall into, be put to the front of the line?
I don't think it's a put to the front of the line. I think it's.
This is my question.
But you can't ask it that way, because it makes it too general. It's more nuanced than that. It's such a nuanced thing.
No, it's not. The governor said that regardless of where you and I'm not. Regardless of, if you are a member of the Illinois General Assembly, you are now eligible to go get the shot. Regardless of
all the black
else.
people I know, excuse me, except for Mary Flowers, is younger than me. So that means that they're not 60 yet.
Right. I think about Buckner. Think about Sonia Harper. Think about Curtis Tarver. Think about Marcus Evans. Now, I'm not going to say any of those people don't fit. I'm saying, now if you fit in, if you're diabetic or you got whatever those things are that qualify you and you're in the Illinois General Assembly, then you move up. But should you, as a member of the Illinois General Assembly, be moved to the front of the line? Nobody asked you to take no tests. You ain't got to write down no pre-qualified. You just roll up. You pull out your whatever you got, your state ID that says that this is who you are, it is somewhere in the computer that they be like, dee, 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 doo. Yep. Not that you got to cut the line. You still got to stand in line. But you don't have, like, if there is a shot available, you get it.
That's 236 people. And I think the aldermen already fall into that category. They've already been able to get their shots.
I think that I think we got to have water. I think, yeah, I'm just saying. What do you think? What do you? So
I hate to be against you, Maze, but that water goes to St. Louis. We don't care what happens to that water.
And there goes 4 more years away from Todd's completing his pension. All right, and let's go to the phone lines. Let's go to Brother Frank. Brother Frank, look, Brother Frank, are you auditioning to get on the show, man?
Hey, good morning, Brother Mays and Todd.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My sister Ruthie and Sonia. How y'all doing this morning?
Excellent. Except Maze just
My brother, this is a great question. I think it should have been answered. I'm going to just say that in a way, I think the rollout is been done backwards. I think that the teachers, they should be prioritized. I say the reason why, because this is in a way of protecting the kids since they can't be vaccinated. I think the teachers should be right behind the healthcare worker and the first responders. Now come the teachers and the essential workers. They are essential workers. And the way I see it been done backwards because, like we always said, needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one. Well, the same principle can be applied to when you take into consideration that the future of our country and this world is in the hand of the young. Okay? I don't see no reason why someone 70, 80, 90 years old who can pass away from natural causes 2 weeks later, a month or so later, after, you know what I'm saying? Right. And a young person dies who gets COVID, who could have got that shot. They die 2 weeks later, too. I love our elders. I have great respect for them and love for them. But the young people have their life all in front of them, and the old people have lived their life. So that way, I think it is backwards. The needs of the young outweigh the needs of the old. I'm not cold, not hard, but that's the way I see it. It's been done backwards there.
Dang.
What you think about that, Brother Mays?
I think you cold. Blooded. What the Rick James was like, you cold blooded, Brother Frank. That's kind of harsh, man.
No, I mean I understand what Frank's saying, but he's got it backwards because
young people have the better chance to survive.
Yeah, basically
to fight it off, to fend it off. I also want to talk about like where you get the shot.
Gluteus maximus.
But no, you think about when you get the shot. I was reading this story about Alderman Roberto Maldonado, right? And he was saying how they're concerned about who's getting the shots even in their neighborhood because there's no qualification. There's no, like what I've been hearing is people are going on the internet and looking anywhere that they can find a shot.
Yeah.
Right? And going wherever that is. So imagine like in Inglewood where people have less access to, let me not say Inglewood. Imagine a community where people have less access to the internet and computer, right? And then you got white people that can be up all night refreshing and putting in dates and putting in addresses, etc. And then you go to the corner store where they normally wouldn't come to your neighborhood and there's 300 white people lined up to go get a shot in your neighborhood.
That's also a story, too, or has been a story, that white people have been getting more shots than the minorities who were dying at a higher rate.
Right. And then imagine they doing it in the neighborhood. What you think about that one, Ruthie? Like, I mean, is it survival of the fittest? Survival of the fittest? Should they put a geo fence around the shot? Should they say you can only get it in your area? Right?
I don't know. I think those are all really, really good questions. I think ultimately there are still groups of people that don't want the shot.
Right.
And so it's kind of hard to argue firmly for either side because people they might land somewhere in the middle. It's interesting what Frank was saying. I don't know. But I do.
Ruthie like, kill them old people.
Yeah, I don't know about that. But I do think that we need to classify people properly. Like, who is an essential worker?
Us.
Like, Like, I mean, like, so I think that's really the conversations. Is like, who
you're
is an
essential
worker. Like,
No, I think Frank is right about the teachers. I think they fall right behind the healthcare workers.
Yeah, can I say this?
I mean, what about like restaurant workers and
I get it.
CTA bus operators and
So I think.
Well, yeah.
But see, I think like I almost feel like all public. I know this is gonna sound crazy. I know y'all gonna be like me, but I think all public employee union, not union, but all public employees that are forced to come in contact with people should be eligible, right? Like, so if
there's only so many bus operators.
Right. It's like, I think that if you CTA, if you...
Yeah, but then if you start with the bus operators, then
I think you get the trains.
The janitorial staff.
I think that too, though.
Like all of them.
Like, if you work in a governmental entity that is functioning, in my estimation, you should get the shot. You like, if you want it, you should be able to get it.
Only if you want it. You shouldn't be required to get it.
I agree with that. But I think like...
I don't think anybody's pushed that yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. Not until you want to...
people fighting over the shots.
Right.
Just wait till they get a whole bunch of them.
And then they say you can't get on the plane. Right? You can't go to the restaurant. When, like Ruthie said, they're going to make you show your status.
Well, if Eastern Airlines says you can't get on, don't they have that right as a private business?
I think they have that right as a private business, but there goes your HIPAA law.
It's a murky line.
There go your HIPAA straight out the door. Like, then the next thing they'll say, we want to see your HIV status. Could we see your cancer status?
That's the slippery slope argument.
Okay.
I've always had problems with slippery slope.
No, it's not, because if it's not slippery, it ain't slippery at all. It's some firm footing, because think about how we are digitizing our health records. So I'm about to push this button.
Ruthie told us that a while back.
I'm finna hack into your little health passport you got on your iPhone, so you can get on, because you want to get on this plane. They just was talking
about that.
And now, because all your health stuff is linked up and I'm a criminal, I'm about to steal your stuff. And now I'm finna be Todd Stroger. And now I have a clean bill of health because I really got COVID, but I need to travel. So I'm finna steal your identity because it's right on your phone.
They're stealing identities left and right.
Yeah, but Todd, stop playing like this ain't a big deal. This is a big deal.
What, stealing identity or COVID? What are we talking about?
We talking about health and how it's a fine line between you mandating me showing you my negative COVID test, and like May said, now I got to show you my HIV status.
Oh,
and
no.
Now
So
I got to show you.
You're not talking about health. You're talking about privacy.
Health privacy. Health
doesn't
data.
matter, but you're really talking about privacy.
I'm more so talking about data and how data is the new currency. That's what people trying to steal now. I don't want the $2 in your wallet.
Right, because these fools take
the data in your iPhone.
They straight up taking your tax return. Like, I mean, like,
yeah, but
people.
Medical is different.
Huh?
Medical is different.
Well, I think medical becomes important because it's going to become currency. Because if you can't go somewhere because you don't have this particular, we're in a global pandemic. So now it's currency.
I see
so
that.
now it's more of a heightened thing, whereas I need to steal your data and your medical records because I got to get from point A to point B. I'm a criminal. Like, that's my goal. I'm a criminal. I'm trying to steal some stuff. So now the best currency is your data. And your health data is about to become really, really important if we have, can I say, restrictions on travel based on the pandemic.
We got them already. We already got travel restrictions based on that. You can't fly in from China. Man, that's why he called it the China flu.
You know what? I make all
China
my
virus.
health appointments on an app now.
Man, they do your doctor's appointment on the phone. They be like, look at me.
Not even on the app.
Yeah, I've had one.
I be like, hey, man, I feel violated. These are like
telehealth.
selfies, man.
Dang, don't be calling them out.
So I'm just going to say this, y'all. I think when Ruthie talks about the health data, I also think about the futuristic. Let me say that I believe that there's going to be more viruses and there's going to be more vaccines that we're going to have to take. And access to those vaccines and who gets them and having the decision of the power of life or death and who gets prioritized in that is pretty. I don't know if I voted for the governor for that. And I don't know if I don't know how that impacts my next vote. I'm just saying, like, when you start to think about the fact that he gets to make the list, the governor now gets to make the list. Which of us are the least offensive? I mean, we say, can we get rid of the least offensive? Get him the shots last.
No system's perfect.
I'm not debating that. I'm not debating that. I think this is something we've never thought about. I don't think that we've ever thought about the fact that we are now potentially entering an era where someone has the right to make the decision to prioritize where you fit in the ability to live or die. All you gotta do is watch one of them Planet of the Apes.
All through history, it's been the same, except it just pops up every once in a while. So we don't think about it as a group.
So I'm thinking about it, and I want to know what group I fit in. No, I'm straight up. I would like to know what group I fit in. Right? Like, seriously. You think about that. Yeah, I'm not tripping.
I'm certain in those other things like polo and the Spanish flu, I bet black people were like, not even thought about. What? You guys want a shot?
No, yeah, they did, because they was like, y'all cleaning my house. All right, look, y'all, it's the Maze Jackson Show. We'll be back after these messages.
The Maze Jackson Show will be back after this break.
We expect all of our teachers to come to school tomorrow. All of the CPTU members. And those who do not report to work, but we're going to have to take action. Let's get a deal done. And that's the message that I gave to Jesse Sharkey.
Dr. Janice Jackson. Dr. Jackson, welcome back to the Maze Jackson Show.
I'm not going to get into whether or not this is political or not. My focus is on education. I want to be clear to all the listeners. I believe in my heart 100% students should be in school. I am a parent. My child goes to a Chicago public schools. I'm not asking parents or giving them an option to do something that I wouldn't do for myself. And I would not send students, my child or anybody else's child, back into a building if I didn't think it was safe. I think the harm that is being done by students not being in class every day is irreparable. Our kids were already struggling. They were struggling when they were going to school every day. Now, all of a sudden, remote learning is magical and kids are okay. That is simply not true. We got kids out here who aren't in good situations. We got kids out here who are finding other ways to occupy their time, and they belong in school. So let's start with that. If not now, when? So at what point is it okay to return to the buildings? We have to shift away from should they be in school and talk about how to do it and do it safely. Hold me accountable for doing it safely. But I am never going to be comfortable with kids being out of school. It's been almost a year.
Introducing your trusted source for high-quality Black emojis, better known as Blackmoji. We believe Black is beautiful, and that beauty should be reflected in the digital market. Now there is an app that does just that, starting with Black Greek letter organizations. Blackmoji D9 offers more than an emoji app. It is a cultural experience of Black excellence. Download the app in the Apple or Google Play Store to access a specially curated catalog of emojis representing the Divine Nine. Use the emojis to celebrate Black Greek events, acknowledge current events, support social causes, and learn about esteemed Black Greek members who blaze the trail of Black history. A portion of every subscription goes toward a scholarship fund specifically for members of Black Greek letter organizations to help keep the legacy alive. Download the Blackmoji app today.
Tomorrow, as the mayor made in her comment, we are expecting all pre-K through 8th grade teachers to report to school, as well as teachers in our cluster program, unless you have an approved accommodation. Teachers and staff that fail to report to school tomorrow will have their access to Google Suites cut off at the end of the business day.
The person today on the live line, CTU, is Miss Stacey Davis-Gates. Now, y'all know, when y'all see Stacey, she finna come with the firecrackers. She finna get it popping. Stacey, welcome back to the Maze Jackson Show.
The under-resourcing and the deprioritization of schools that Black children go to across this country, that is naked right now. Everyone sees the impact of that. So when we say we want to reopen and return to schools, we don't want to return to schools in the same way we left them, because what we left were schools that didn't have enough. There are only 4 school libraries on the west side of Chicago right now. 4 school libraries on the west side of Chicago. We are still fighting to get school nurses into every school before the end of our contract, as well as social workers. So this whole concept that you can return people to a building that do not have the resources and supports that are necessary before the pandemic, and certainly right now, well, we beg to challenge that. And by challenging it means that we have to pump resources into the system. And here's the point. We want to teach. Bottom line, we want to return to our classrooms. And it should not be that we're choosing our health to return to the classroom. It should not be that we're choosing to move out of our homes. Look, I have members right now who are moving out of their homes because their mothers or their fathers live with them and they have comorbidities, or their partners have comorbidities. This false choice that we cannot figure this out on a phase-in schedule where we front vaccines. Look, we live in a city where the mayor of Chicago is in charge of everything. Public health, public transportation, public schools, economic development, everything. So if it is a priority to reopen schools, then it is also a priority to put forth the resources to do it safely.
WIFTBPM.
Call in and say it with your chest. 872-259-7474. That's 872-259-7474. Give us a call and say it with your chest. 872-259-7474.
Yeah, man. Ideas, man. Ideas. You don't have to find me. I'm walking right behind you. It's so clear to see that you wanna be free. You don't have to find me. I'm walking right behind you. It's so clear to see that you wanna be free. Let's go. Standing my ground, I can't mess around now. It's like my time is in a bottle, captured by your love, yeah. Now I know women's got this thing going on. We can't stay around so long, but I wanna come correct. Baby, get your foot off my neck. You don't have to find me. I'm walking right behind thee. Understand clearly, that you wanna be free. It's the time that you spend making me think within. Is the trust still beginning? Fade away from beginning of the day. I can see you trembling times, and I can see you wondering mine. Is it me considered? You that's with it. See, you don't have to find me. I'm walking right behind thee, and it's so clear to see, baby, that you wanna be free. You don't have to find me. I'm walking right behind thee. It's so clear to see that you wanna be free, yeah. I'm just trying to be the best I can. You can call me the troubling man. Matter of fact,
you are listening to the most dangerous show in the morning. This is What's in It for the Black People Radio. Maze Jackson, the most vociferous advocate for black people in the world.
For the black people, cause economically we are not equal. Waking up to lies, can't doze no more. I told y'all, yeah, this a dangerous show. Don't go to church if you ain't trying to help us. Don't even try to be around and can't protect us. We see the lies now, other politicians. We need money and no symbolism. It's Maze, it's Sonia, and Ruthie, and Todd, explaining how we all come from God, giving us tools to beat the odds. If we're united, our movement gon' stop. If they ain't tryna help us, they ain't tryna do nothing. We gotta do something, we gotta stop running. It's time to confront the problem. Really, you expect your oppressed to solve on. What's in it for the black people?
like we ain't heard before. Time to pay attention. You gotta do more than listen. Need some action with on the count of three. Let's roll.
Wake up, Chicago. Wake up, world. This is the Maze Jackson Show. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. Got my co-host, Todd Stroger. Hey, Todd. Ruthie
Ran Ruthie out.
You didn't run Ruthie out. Ruthie had to go get
that heat.
Boy, Ruthie had to get some work done. Don't make her walk back up in here and be like, what you say, Todd?
I say she's turning around right
She'll
now.
be like, she out there like, hold on. She'll pull back up on you. Your parents ever pull back up on you, Todd? Like you thought you got away. You was doing something, and then you turn around and there go your parents standing right there. That used to happen to me all the time.
I'm pretty sure that had to happen.
You know, you was trying to get jazzy. All right, so look, it's Maze and Sonia. Sonia Escobar, how you feeling?
Good morning.
All right, it's Maze and Sonia. No, Ruthie and Todd. Todd.
Yes, sir.
You ain't got no. You supposed to throw it back. Like you supposed to, like if we was doing a. That's all right, man. You it's all good, man. I got you.
Hello?
All right.
Don't come back.
Was that a call and response, or I missed it?
Yeah, that was a call and response, man. That was a call and response. I'm gonna tell you, Todd. I don't know if you're ready, man.
Probably not.
I don't know if you're ready. All right, look.
We don't do a lot of call and response in Catholic Church.
You know what, man? The Catholic Church, man. Todd, y'all.
I remember it.
You remember going to the Catholic Church? All right, hold on. I'm trying to get some stuff done around here. All right, we are up and away. All right, y'all. CPS is still out of school. This is the strike. This is.
Well, they're not. Are they out of school?
Well, no, they went back to remote learning, and they're actually on a cool out day. What do they call it? A cooling down period.
Yeah, something like that.
So, Todd, let me back up. Because they are not calling this a strike. They are calling it a cooling off period. But I feel like somebody's not really telling me the truth. Now,
I tried to do a cooling off period at work, and they called it abandonment of job.
All right, let me, because I want to make sure I get this right. So what I'm going to do, Todd, is I am going to read the definition of a strike. And then I want you to tell me if this sounds like what's happening now. Okay. Now, an act of strike, a strike, a noun, an act of striking, an instance of act or instance of striking. A concerted stopping of work or withdrawal of workers' services as to compel an employer to accede to workers' demands in protest against terms or conditions imposed by an employer. A temporary stoppage of something. That sounds like
fits the description to me.
It sounds like there's literally a strike going on.
Yeah.
Although we're not calling it that. CTU, in my estimation, has officially got the mayor over a barrel. I think she's already kind of lost because she told him she was going to lock him out. Then she said, all right, let's take 2 days. Hold on before that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you ever seen, remember like when it was going to be a fight and it was one person that wanted to fight and another person that didn't want to fight. And so it'd be like, hit me. You better not hit me. They hit you. You better not hit me again.
Step over this line.
But it's been almost a year.
What do you mean?
They have weekly meetings, I believe.
Yeah, I got you.
So in all this time.
I'm saying that this is what happens. This is part of the reason Alderman Villegas, it's hard to make friends when you're always in a fight. And it's times like this when relationships matter. Right? There's like, where's the relationship? And so, Todd, so first of all, Black Chicago, is CTU on the strike? Give us a call. 872-259-7474. But what I also want to do is I want to hear from the parents. I want to hear from the parents. Yesterday, I was flipping through the TV channels. And on Channel 7, I saw my man, Willie Preston. I saw Natasha Dunn. I think I saw Patrick Brutus and quite a few other people. Black parents.
Oh, Willie's been like, I'm sending my kids back even if there is no school.
Well, I saw when I saw them, I think it's a voice that we haven't heard. Right? Like, not vociferously.
Mm-hmm.
Black parents with children in CPS who want to send their kids back. Now, I think CPS is really failing in their messaging. In that they have not, in my opinion, convinced the people that this isn't everybody going back to school. This isn't all the students returning.
Mm-mm.
Now, is this all the teachers returning? Are they demanding that all the teachers return?
That's the fight right there. Even if all the kids aren't coming back, they're demanding all the teachers come back.
Well, didn't we see that 20% of the students, didn't we see that like only 20% of the students came back? Or no, yeah, 20% of the students came back.
That makes sense. That's almost, when you do things, 20% is like a number that pops up all the time.
So now my question becomes, why not match up the 20% of the students with the 30% of the teachers and then pay hazard pay?
Yeah, that's expensive.
It's expensive, but
we have to pay hazard pay at the hospitals, and that adds up quick.
I'm not debating whether it adds up quick. I'm just saying like this, Todd. Right now, if it's the mayor, if you're the mayor right now, you're in a do or die situation, right? Like, you got to spare no expense. You got to get the kids back in school. This isn't just now for the mayor a minor issue. This is essentially the mayor's Armageddon, in my estimation. Well, maybe not Armageddon. But I do think that what you're looking at, the mayor has to figure her way out of this. And I think CTU right now recognizes that they have a victim. Like, real talk. I mean, you think about this. They were supposed to have their stuff cut off last week. Right? Last week.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute. They were supposed to return to school last Wednesday? Tuesday? To be ready for this Monday. Now, essentially, and then they said they was going to lock them out on Monday. They pushed it back to Tuesday.
On Sunday.
Right? Teachers were supposed to be in school. They did not show. Now the question becomes, Todd, in my estimation. The question becomes now, in my estimation, what does the mayor do?
I don't know, because I look at this as probably most people without children. This is like a Broadway show. I know it's going on. I know it's right down the street, but I'm not going to go see it. So I'm only half paying attention.
Well, I'm going to tell you like this. Where are the parents of CPS students? Willie Preston, if you out there, give us a call. 872-259-7474. I'm looking to find CPS parents and your opinions. I'm not looking for the labor people. I'm not looking for the union people. I'm looking for black people to tell us their thoughts. Are black parents wanting to send their children back? I also think that this is an option. Why does it work everywhere else but not in the city of Chicago? Did you see this? Let me not say why does it work. Did you see the CDC came out? The head of the CDC came out and said you could send kids back to school safely without a vaccine. Now that scares me only because that seems to be like what everybody said was going to happen when Joe Biden got elected. All of a sudden the virus was going to go away and things were just going to start opening up.
I'm sure that has something to do with the vaccine, though.
I'm not debating you on that. I can see that.
I mean, when I say I'm sure, that means I have no scientific proof. But I'm pretty. I would guess that's part of the reasoning. Now that people are being vaccinated, they're like, well, the numbers will get better, and we see the numbers getting better here. It's kind of amazing. I don't know. Are more people just adhering? I think part of it does have to do with like Trump being gone. I think with him being gone,
they was going to let us keep dying and they need to run the numbers up.
No, there's less of that anti-mask thing. He helped keep it in the forefront. So I think there's less of that. Well, let's just run around and be problems for everybody than there were before.
Unless you're on CTA.
Well, if you're on CTA, there's always going to be a problem. Somebody's going to come on and be like, I'm going to be a problem.
All right. Give us a call. 872-259-7474. Do you think, so let me ask a question. Do you think the mayor's going to lock them out today? She said that today was the final day. There would be no more cooling off days.
I don't think she has a choice. She made her mark.
She made a mark on Tuesday. She made it on Tuesday and then Wednesday.
You can only go so far before people like,
we don't believe you. You need more people. I think CTU has already figured it out. So are we going to have a strike? Oh, or are we already in a strike?
Yeah, according to your definition,
that's not my definition.
Well, the definition you read, we're in a strike already.
Why do you think the mayor refuses to call it that?
She doesn't want. I'm with you with your analysis earlier. She doesn't want to have another strike.
Teachers are teaching.
Huh?
Teachers, they're teaching. They're just not in the building.
So
it's not a strike.
Did Ruthie say that on the air about they didn't want?
So do the employees set the rules?
Right, they didn't want the employees to basically. Ruthie was saying they didn't want the employees to decide that. All right, I need to be at home because of such and such. They want CPS to keep that power.
Wait,
Ruthie was saying that they didn't want teachers saying, well, because of A, I need to stay home.
Because of their pre-existing conditions.
Or
right?
Other things.
Right.
Like my wife is pregnant. I need to
comorbidities and all of that stuff.
All that, yeah.
Right? So, has the mayor already lost?
I think so. I think the battle is lost. We're just going through the motion as she figures out that her body is dead.
Which is
not literally dead, but
so how does this end? How do you gracefully exit this situation? I guess my question is, how many parents actually want their kids to go back to school?
Is there a graceful exit? I mean, is there a way? I don't even think CTU ever wants a graceful exit. I think for them, it's better to be on the battlefield and somebody's got an axe and somebody's got a mace and somebody gets hit in the head in the end. And they're like, okay, everybody see that?
So how does she? So are they gonna? So how does she get out of this? I mean, there has to be an exit though. I mean, what does she give them? She's already said that she'll move them up in the priority of the shots.
Right.
They said like 1,700 shots a week. Do you think there's anything she can do to satisfy CTU?
I think this is like all the tough issues. When I say tough issues, I mean like concealed carry, abortion, all those things where it's almost 50-50 on each side. I think this is one of those type of issues where there's going to be a whole bunch of people who are like, my kid ain't going until things are right. And a whole bunch of like, they should be in school, being socialized and learning.
Meanwhile, both of our kids are in school.
Yeah,
Hybrid.
actually, Claire's in school today.
Yeah, Maison had basketball tryouts yesterday.
Oh, Claire had bowling tryouts yesterday.
He made the team.
Oh, well.
He made sophomores. This
Claire,
is like the first cut team.
Since we're battling kids.
We're not battling kids, but go ahead.
Claire got her eye yesterday.
But she doesn't have a jacket to put it on.
No, she doesn't.
So
but
she
she
let
was
it.
on varsity, so she didn't get the small eye. She got the big eye.
What grade is she? What is she, a junior?
She's a junior now.
You know my son likes older women.
What do you mean, like 40?
Okay, so
Sonia, stay away from that kid.
I was just thinking, Todd, though, when we think about the return to school, I think CTU is able to play on the historical Why did you send your child to a private school? Your children to private school?
Well, to be honest with you, I went to a private school, and I thought it worked out pretty darn well. And it's always been my thought, this is just a personal feeling, that I would send my children to school with parents who I thought the way that I did. It's not really the teachers as much. It's the pressure the parents put on the school to do what you want them to do.
That's a very good. Oh, okay. I'll take that. I want to hear from the parents. You know, I told you CPS, and by default, and this is really falls on the mayor and her operation, has lost touch. They don't have a people person or groups that advocate for their issues. Right? Like, I always remember when Inglewood was closing. They was closing all them high schools in Inglewood.
Yes.
And on one side you had a whole bunch of parents, right? And then that were from Inglewood, and then on the other side you saw kind of like the city's response. Remember, I was like the T-shirts, and they coordinated efforts, and they got the people there.
Right, they can get bodies there. They're just not bodies that actually live in the area.
But they have an organized response for these type of issues.
Right.
I have not seen the city mount any credible rallying of the parents that are for this. Now, who I have seen very actively speaking out on behalf of the parents, he's been making some national rounds as well, because I think this is it's turning into a national issue.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I think people around the country are watching the school opening process. I think they watch Chicago for how we deal with these things, because traditionally Chicago is the way that everybody else follows, some derivative of it politically. And on the parent side, I haven't seen very many people. And then yesterday I was scrolling through my Facebook timeline, and I saw what appeared to be an organized, or the beginnings of the organizations of the parents whose voices are not being heard. On the live line, I think we got I think he played the MC. I think I heard him say yesterday he was going to be the MC/curator of this Zoom call. On the live line, we have we have Brother Willie Preston. Willie Preston, how you feeling, and happy belated birthday, my brother?
How you doing? How you doing, Brother Mays? Thanks for having me on, brother.
I know, man. And we still got to get you on through the Zoom. It's been a little crazy little week this week, but we're gonna have you come in and co-host with us. Maybe one of these days when Ruthie is out of here, we'll have you in. But Willie, I've been seeing you all over the place, man. You done turned into an international celebrity as it relates to the return of students and children to schools. Talk to me, what's going on? Because I have not seen very much from the parents.
Well, Mays, let me just say this. I wouldn't consider myself all over the place. I've only been one place, and I've been on the side of the parents and the community who want a choice for public education inside Chicago. Now, the reality is that we have a tug of war going on, and as you alluded to, parents essentially just sitting by idly because we're being essentially ignored. And I won't stand for that, Mace, as a parent of 6 kids inside this city.
6 kids? Hold on. Back up.
See, there's the problem.
Back up. Now, Willie, I'm just going to say.
Oh, here you go.
Hold on. I'm just going to say, brother. We imagine that with 6 kids, you want them to go wherever they going. No, I'm just joking. But, Willie, 6 kids? Are all of them in CPS, man?
All of our children are a part of CPS. We have 2 high schoolers, and we have 4 kids in elementary, including our 4-year-old Maeve, who was actually in-person learning before this recent impasse got started. She was safely at the school on week 3, and my wife and I were able to measure her growth. Her teacher was super excited to have her, by the way. I should note that.
I think I watched her the first day on Facebook Live. I did. I saw that. I saw you out there as a proud papa. So, Willie, here's my thing. I don't think there's anybody that knows or follows you in digital or the social space that does not recognize that not only do you have 6 kids, good God, man, but that you are an active participant in their lives. And I don't think any of us doubt that you want the best for them and would not put them in harm's way. But do you really think it's safe for children to return? To CPS, hold on. Let me back up. Let me just preface this. Because I got a little sting one time. I think Willie threw a little shot at me. But I do think, here's what I'm going to say. I want to make a full disclosure that my child does go to private school and is in a version of hybrid learning. I think my question revolves around, Willie, the fact that part of the reason that I chose what I chose is because we know of the historic inequities in CPS and how they treat our children specifically. So knowing that and putting that into the equation, do you think this will be handled equitably, not using look, Sonia, that means making white people more rich. Do you think that CPS will do right by black kids specifically when it comes to this return? Because we know white folks will send their kids back.
So, man, I think one of the most important things to pay attention to right now as parents is what we do collectively to make sure that we hold any administration and as well as the union who has such a dominant voice inside our public educational system here in Chicago, as they should. But I think it's important for us as parents to hold each of these folks accountable. Look, again, I sent my 4-year-old daughter into the buildings because I believe that it was safe enough for her to go, and I believe that it is just no substitute for in-person learning. And I think that's a view that's shared by everybody involved, the mayor, the union, and most parents. So I do believe that it's safe, but also, Maeve, I do recognize and understand the history of what the way CPS has treated us, the way the city has treated us. And when I say us, I mean black folks, and in particular, black folks who are now rich or wealthy in the city. So look, I'm not basing my decision on a trust of the CPS system. What I'm basing my decision upon is the science, which is what we all claimed we were going to stand by. Now, when the former president was in office, everybody said we got to go by the science, and I agree with that. I don't think that changes the calculation now because we have a new administration, and I don't think that we should go just merely off of our instincts, right? We have to go off the pure, unadulterated science, and the science says that we should safely open our schools with the mitigation steps that the mayor and CPS has put in place. Now, look, with that said, as parents, we are the primary people that are responsible for our kids, both to be the primary educators and certainly to protect them and keep them safe. So for those parents, Mays, who don't believe that it's safe, I stand with them, because at the end of the day, I want those parents, like I want for myself, to have their wishes respected as parents, because they have the obligation to take care of their children. So this is more so not simply about reopening the schools. This is about making sure that parents and communities have a voice and have a choice. And that's what I stand for.
Hey, Willie.
And that's what we're fighting for.
Willie, is there a parents association in the public school system?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? I didn't hear you.
Is there a parents association in the public school system?
Yeah, there are a ton of them. Mayor Washington, our mayor, helped start them. They're called the local school councils. And then you also have the PACs. What we don't have, as to my knowledge at least, is a network of local school councils that work, in conjunction on anything. And I think that's something that we need to change. I have been in conversation with parents from all sides of the town of Chicago, all sides of the city, and yes, that includes the north side, where we have, white parents who do in fact send their kids to CPS as well. And so my position is that we better get beyond the business of trusting CPS and, quite frankly, trusting the union, and get back to the business of being a primary champion for our own children. And that doesn't look like us running the education system. I don't want to even suggest that. But what it does look like is for us parents connecting with all of our various groups across the city of Chicago to have some stake, some voice inside the discussions that move forward with respect to public education. Because our children are the ones that are being, they have the most skin in the game.
Sonia, you want to say, you got something? I was just going to say, let me say this, Willie. I am not sure who to trust in this situation, right? It's very difficult for me when I watch Mayor Lightfoot stand up, and I'm not going to even lie. I have trust issues as it relates to Mayor Lightfoot. I really do. I do. I think Dr. Janice Jackson is probably the best thing that they got on the sales side of trying to pitch this. I am going to tell you that I admire what you're doing. I'm not exactly sure where I sit on this issue. I go in and out on it. But what I do see you doing is organizing people around your issue to make a definitive change. And I think that regardless of that, I think that, my brother, is admirable. Regardless, because a lot of people will talk about it and not take a stand, will not move, will not do anything. So I look forward to seeing you, how this thing turns out, and if you all have information and you all are having more of those meetings, get the information to us and we'll happily get it out. If people want to find out more about how parents are organizing in the city, Willie, can you tell them how they can get in contact with you?
Okay, well, thank you, Mace, very much, brother. I really appreciate you. You're a treasure in our community. I'll say that publicly. I know there's some people that don't particularly care for you, but I want to make sure that I state on the record publicly, I'm not one of those people. I admire you. You're a jewel in our community.
Thank you, brother.
What I will say is I'll ask people to look on our social media page on Facebook, the Black Community Collaborative Facebook page. Again, that's the Black Community Collaborative Facebook page. And there we will be building out an organization that's centered around issues that directly affect Black people. And so really it'll be issues in public education, public safety, economic.
Hey, dog, you trying to rebuild what's in it for the Black people, Joe?
No, we're not. No. You know what? What's in it for the Black people cannot be rebuilt. And so I think that it is one of the premier organizations in our community for Black people. So again, that's why I will always sing your praises for what you have been able to do, because I've been inspired to really focus in politics by building power for Black people, because that's really where my interests lie at the end of the day.
So is this organization about schools, or is it more about community issues?
No, it's about community issues. It's about Black folks collaborating in spaces where we agree on issues that really impact Black people. That's what the Black Community Collaborative is about. but surely there is a strong emphasis on education, because the state of black education is the state of black America.
All right, man. That is Willie Preston with 6 kids. 6 whole kids. And this dude be talking about, if you watch his Facebook page, he be talking about he gonna add to the tribe. You better leave that little good. Excuse me. You know what?
I love my wife, man.
We know, brother. We know. You show her all the time. You done showed her 6 times. 6 times now, man. Hey, y'all also, man, check out Willie Preston. I've been checking out his carpentry. You know, I've been seeing him making bars and all type of stuff and hooking up basements and all type of things. You know, he's too busy. I tried to get him to build What's in for the Black People studio. Then Tamika was like, hold on. But you know, Willie, you know, he's like, I get to you next year, right? Because he's stacking up the business. Willie, what's that business too, by the way?
I'm sorry, Maze. Can you say that again?
What's the business, man? Hey, man, stay focused. What's the name of your carpentry business, man?
Preston Construction LLC.
All right, man. You get on out of here, man. I know you're busy. Take care of your business. Hey, y'all, that's Willie Preston on the front lines fighting for black students in education. He has been all over the place. When I said that, I meant he's been on every TV channel.
Oh, yeah.
I've been seeing. I'm like, dang, man, did I turn on this dude on WTTW?
I saw Bruce Dumont reach out to him like, hey, are you Willie Preston?
Hey, see, man? Mm-hmm. Let me tell you, man, make famous.
Oh, and also got to say, vote for me and I'll set you free.
I was just going to ask him, is he still planning on running?
Oh, that's not where I was going with that. But
I mean, he's building a decent little base. You know, you organize. So I also want to point out something. Okay. I want to point out that communities are being organized in a different way. Communities are being organized in a different way. The evolution of the political operation is happening before your eyes, right? You heard him say, go to our Facebook page, our group. Facebook, a while back, organized these communities. Like if you go into the Lion's Den on Facebook, it is truly a community, right? They collaborate, they share information, they help each other, they find resources, etc. And I think it is incumbent upon us as we build for the future that we build a digital space. Now, one of the things I need to start happening is, and I think we all need to do this. First of all, we need a drive to 5,000. The drive to 5,000. We need 5,000 likes on the What's in It for the Black People media page. We have to keep growing. We have to keep pushing. Shout out to everybody who has donated to the What's in It for the Black People fundraiser. The link is still live. Want to encourage you to, my birthday fundraiser. I decided it was going to be, I do want to say.
My sister-in-law celebrates her birthday for the month.
I'm celebrating mine for the year. After they played me on my 50th, oh yeah, wait till June get here. Y'all gonna be like, wait, your birthday? No, dog.
Claire can tell you your half birthday like this.
Can she?
Yeah.
Did she celebrate it? Did she hit you up?
She tried to, but
you such a wet blanket, man. All right, look, y'all. The drive to 5,000. You'll probably be hearing about that soon. You will be hearing about that soon. We need 5,000 likes on the What's in It for the Black People media page. We're growing, but we're not growing as fast as we need to. 5,000. So if not only do you need to follow the page, you need to like the page. Go to Facebook, put in What's in It for the Black People media. Click like. We need to raise in the Facebook rankings. We are trying to create the world's largest black-owned media outlet. We run social digital. Did you see that? Y'all saw the Speaker of the House came on my Facebook page on my birthday and was like, happy birthday to the king of social digital radio. I was like, man, now we just need to get that in the video. It's pretty cool though, man.
That is cool.
Yeah, man. I'm going to tell you, one of these days. Todd, is it wrong to want to be one of the most powerful
I
black
had the king of the world say that to me once.
Really? Is it wrong
That's
to
what I
want to
tell
be
Hans
the
all the time? If you don't come down being the king of the world from playing on that computer, I'm gonna be upset.
It's Hans. I'm telling you, Hans part of the conspiracy, man. The FBI come to your door. Anyway, let me stop. Is it wrong to want to be powerful, Todd?
No. Somebody's going to be powerful. Somebody in this space, in every space, is going to be powerful. Why not you? And as I was telling the guy, I can't remember how this worked. Oh, they were talking about Abraham Lincoln. Is he a hero? I was like, and I said, my opinion. I was like, yes. And then the majority of people are like, no, he killed Indians, and he only did that because of he wanted to do this, that, and the other thing. But my take on this. Every man has clay feet. Nobody's going to be perfect. But if you can do something that shines light on the world, you're all right with me for the most part.
Well, I want to shine a light on the world. I want to be powerful, man. Like, I want to be able to help. I want to be able to be powerful enough to help my friends. Right?
So then you got to figure out how you want to do it. That's all.
Well, I want to be powerful. I want to be the media.
You want to be powerful and rich?
I want to be
a good
wealthy.
idea.
I want to be the.
Ooh, you want to be wealthy? That's even better than rich.
Right? No, I don't want.
Pritzker's wealthy.
Right.
My mama rich.
I want to help black people become wealthy. Like, real talk, man. I was just thinking about this. Like, who is going to make us better?
You know what? I think of a conversation yesterday, and you kind of alluded that I was not confident in what was going on with our elected officials. But to be honest with you, I do see a change. I think they feel the change, and I do think that they're trying to do more. They're just learning as they go. They've never been in this position. So like with the cannabis thing, they didn't know how to handle it. But I think they do feel the power.
And
I'm not just talking about the state guys. I think the city too.
I guess my hope, though, is that in the feeling of the power, that they understand that the goal of power is to create more powerful people, right? Like, the challenge I think we run into sometimes, and I'm a skip ahead, and then we're gonna move some stuff around. Mm-hmm. So, did you see that this Black Judas and the Messiah is coming out? Oh, let me go to the phone lines first, and then we're gonna move to the conversation of black organizations and why they don't survive. But before we do that, let's go to Byron. Byron, where you been at, man? We need somebody to whoop on Todd.
Hey, your phones haven't been working like they should.
Oh, Lord.
Call in.
Look, that's why we doing fundraisers, okay, man. We around here trying to.
You just got to pay that bill, man. Ask Todd to pay that bill. He got that 3 pension checks.
Byron, you got to donate to the What's in it for the Black People Fund. But go ahead, talk to us, man.
I don't have a Facebook account. I don't have a Twitter account.
Hey, we got Cash App. We got Venmo. We got Chase Quick Pay. We got it all, brother. You can get. Don't be trying to use them Republican tricks to get out of that money.
I got a car. I can drive over there.
We can pick it up. We take a check. Go ahead. Go ahead, Byron.
Yeah. Back to the topic of the cancellation, the cancel culture. It started with Trump canceling him, right? And then they had a website called Reddit. I mean, not Reddit. What's that they shut down? But anyway, it was a conservative site. And there, first Apple took them off their apps. Then Google took them off. Then everybody took them off. And then all of a sudden Amazon took away their cloud service. So they put them out of business. They just canceled them.
Parler.
Nobody could hear what they had to say.
Parler.
It's what you're saying, Maze. They can cancel you whenever you want. They're coming for us later. And we don't even see it.
Yeah, I think if they do it to white
your
folks,
radio station could be, like you said, could be determined as hate speech. If the white liberals decide that's what they want to get rid of you, that's what they use to get rid of you. Just label you. How about people that want to send the kids to school right now? They're being harassed by the teacher union at their jobs because they want their kids to go to school. They're trying to cancel them. It's a dangerous path we're going down on, Maze.
And
you see it.
I see it. That's that Todd that don't be Todd. You know, Todd is all in line with the. No, I'm just playing. Byron, I do think that we got some real issues as it relates to.
But it's real though, Maze. This is real.
You're right, man.
We're about to go back to slavery.
Hey, hold on. Speak for yourself. I'm going to Canada, man. All right, y'all.
Oh, yeah. You see what Canada has deemed, the country has deemed that the Proud Boys are a
hate group.
Yes.
Even though they got a mixed leader.
Oh, man. I don't know why people fall for that kind of stuff. Don't you remember in Galactica? What was that? Battlestar Galactica?
What about it?
Who was making all the strategy?
Who?
The human. It was the human that was making all the strategy to try to kill all the other humans.
Oh, right. That is true.
Yeah, you can't go with that kind of.
Thank you. What was his name?
I don't know. I didn't
Emperor.
watch
Remember,
that
he
show.
had. I used to watch it because they had the silver, and they'd be like, "Thank you, leader."
They had cool voices, didn't they?
Man, and then what? Battlestar Galactica used to be able to chain a ragtag band of misfits that were launched in. All right, I want to move to Black Judas and the Messiah.
Where is that?
Check this out. Play Sonia. Did I give you some of the audio? Todd, have you heard about this? It's coming out February 12th. It is. Well, let me let you listen to it.
Okay.
Deputy Chairman Fred Hampton of the Illinois Black Panther Party.
Repeat after me. I am a revolutionary. I am a revolutionary. I am a revolutionary. I am a revolutionary.
That sounds so good.
You're looking at 18 months for the stolen car, 5 years for impersonating a federal officer, or you can go home.
The Black Panthers are forming a rainbow coalition of oppressed brothers and sisters of every color.
Their aim is to sow hatred and inspire terror.
I will learn all that I can.
These ain't no terrorists.
You can murder a liberator, but you can't murder liberation. You can murder a revolutionary, but you can't murder revolution. And you can murder a freedom fighter, but you can't murder freedom.
Next week, Todd.
I did see the trailer. I didn't. I guess I didn't realize what the name of it was.
Yep. It is Black Judas and the Messiah. I'm not going. It's the story. I don't think it's the story of Fred Hampton. I think it's the story of the guy who betrayed him.
Oh.
The COINTELPRO agent, and so I was thinking about Chairman Fred, who I would consider in the pantheon of Black history a demigod. I would say.
I wonder what people say in other cities.
Well, I was going to say nationally.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that there is a tier nationally that includes like a Malcolm X or Martin.
Right.
Like and then I would say there's. So I would say if those were gods, and I'm just using mythology.
I get you.
Then Chairman Fred would be a demigod, right? Which is the product of a god and a mortal, right? If you were just dealing with mythology. So please don't.
Like Hercules.
Hotep me to death, right? Like Hercules. Now I think in Chicago, I think that he is a god,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, I don't think that there's anybody from 80 years old to even up until, let's say, 16, that in Chicago, that if you say Chairman Fred or you say Fred Hampton, they may not know exactly, but they know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that, and for people who were alive during that era, I think it's forever burned in their heads. Like, it's forever. But I was thinking about this movie in the context of the Judas. And I was thinking about how we operate now as black folks in the community in general. When we talk about sellouts, Toms, coons, all of that stuff. How? In the case of this movie, and I haven't seen it, it's clear that and I'm going to tell you, I've heard black people from Chicago talk about, like, COINTELPRO. Like, straight up, they would be like, yo, like, everybody was snitching some kind of way. Not everybody, but, like, a lot of people that are successful now, or middle class or upper middle class or whatever, who lived during that time, said, oh, it was not uncommon for COINTELPRO to snatch you off the street and be like, you gotta comply.
You're working for the man now.
Yep, you working for the man, or we gonna play you out.
Right.
I understand that kind of selling. I don't say I understand, like, condone it, but I understand that. How do you sell out now? Right? Like, it's one thing to betray a black freedom fighter and cause his death. And so when I think of, because I'm really starting to worry about, I'm still really starting to think about my word choice.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really starting to think about, like, as this evolution of black power reiterates itself in a different way, right? Like, I think that right now we're on the cusp of a resurgence of black power politically. Like, in Illinois specifically.
Right.
And so as I start to think about curbing my language or trying to heal relationships and figure out a way forward, I think often about the concept of the sellout, the coon, the Uncle Tom, and how do people intentionally sell us out now, and how do they do it? Like, who is there really to sell out? Like, you know, I was just thinking about, like, I really haven't seen a gathering of black folks, people, that did not include the discussion of sellouts and Uncle Toms, or some derivative of that. But I was really thinking, like, who can you really sell out?
Well, I would say,
and how?
Like, in the space of, like, I'll take Springfield because it's the biggest, and I guess it's the biggest, or in a sense, it's the most powerful. When you look at the space of the west side, west suburbs, the south side, south suburbs, that's pretty much black people, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, we got some sprinkling up in Rogers Park and stuff like that, but that's black people. In my opinion, when you do not support somebody from those areas when they want to be the leader, you are really trying to hamstring all of us.
But if none of them have ever wanted to be the leader, right? Like, I mean, I'm saying like we
Well, if nobody wants to be the leader, that's just a strange.
but I'm saying like, no, but think about this. Like right now, we're in a unique space.
Mm-hmm.
We have not seen the resurgence of, I genuinely believe, even when Ruthie is talking about it, I genuinely believe that, I don't know if it's a burn it down, but I do feel like we are genuinely experiencing in Illinois what could blossom into a resurgence of black political power.
And you know why I say that the burn it down thing is ridiculous? Because you don't even know what's out there yet.
Well, so
we've never been in these chambers before,
and so,
or it's been so long.
As we start to move towards this, right? What you're gonna find is that there is going to be, because we've only really known poverty, what you're going to find is that as we try to move towards the wealth creation mode, black people who have always operated in lack will not understand relationship building. And I was just saying, like, when people talk about, oh, you a sellout, you done did, like, yo, cuz, all y'all running around here broke. Ain't nobody sold nobody out. Like, everybody's broke. Like, ain't nobody got no money to sell out nobody, and ain't nobody leading no damn movement that is like the Black Panthers for that you done crumbled their empire because you spoke to said alderman or said elected official. There are no checks that are floating around the black community. Well, yes, there are now, because there is the billionaire that is buying the black people. He's buying his chess pieces early. Pay attention. You know how you know? This is what they tell you. You know how, like, in the Godfather, not in the Godfather, in Goodfellas, remember when he said, Robert De Niro said, don't buy nothing new, right? Don't act funny. Don't buy no fur coats. Don't do.
Oh,
we don't want nobody.
Sansa,
So
yeah.
you want to know who the billionaires are buying? Pay attention. Who's doing different? But even there, is that really selling out? Even if you get bought by the billionaire, did you get sold? Did you sell out? Who you sell out?
Right, there's got to be another side.
Right, who you sell out? Do you become a sellout because you don't pick somebody's candidate that they want you to pick? I really...
It's similar to what I was trying to allude to with Willie Preston, is that if you don't have a parents' organization to speak for you, then you're not really going to be able to do anything. You're just picking which side is not the most offensive to you. Exactly.
So we're going to take a break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about a little bit more about the sellouts. But then, did you see this story about it's Super Bowl week. But did you see this story about how the NFL pays black players less for concussions?
How do you do that?
We're going to talk about it when we come back.
The Mays Jackson Show will be back after this break.
The Chicago Legal Network is the collaboration of attorneys that concentrate in many areas of the law most needed in Chicago neighborhoods. The CLN lawyers focus on personal injury, criminal defense, and other issues. The CLN lawyers all average over 20 years of legal experience and are dedicated to helping the Chicago community. The Chicago Legal Network is committed to developing black lawyers through mentorship and co-representation. So if you were injured in a car accident, slip and fall, or injured on the job, or you need assistance with criminal defense, including driving violations and DUI, check out ChicagoLegalNetwork.com for more information or call 773-912-3545. 773-912-3545.
All right, well, Angela Oya Fumike. As you know, this is I Do, I Did, I Don't on the What's in It for the Black People media. Start our way into this journey of divorce and healing.
So we came together under a survival mentality, not under a friendship of being in love. First being friends and then being in love or growing in love. We came together under, we're trying to survive, we're two kids trying to survive. Okay, we're going to survive together, because if you're handling this end of the survival and I'm handling this end,
years that you've accepted this is what it's been, and now you've made this decision, and he wasn't there. He wasn't even seeing that
you were done. Here's what it was. Just like I ignored on the front end that he didn't love me like that, he was so disconnected from me by the point when I decided to leave that he didn't see the writing on the wall.
Wow.
He just didn't see it. But he didn't know that woman because he never took the time to meet her.
Mm-hmm. And so you created your plan, and that's key, I think, in having a plan. If you are going to, whether you're deciding together that this isn't going to work any longer and we're splitting, and having a plan on how you're going to move forward is pretty key. You knew at this point I had to create your own plan, and you were moving forward with that. In my case, I didn't have a plan. Things happened pretty abruptly, and I was creating a plan on the fly along the way. I don't recommend that. You forgive yourself. You forgive you. Do the work of forgiving yourself that you may be able to actually forgive others.
We expect all of our teachers to come to school tomorrow, all of the CPTU members, and those who do not report to work, but we're going to have to take action. Let's get a deal done. And that's the message that I gave to Jesse Sharkey.
Dr. Janice Jackson. Dr. Jackson, welcome back to the Maze Jackson Show.
I'm not going to get into whether or not this is political or not. My focus is on education. I want to be clear to all the listeners. I believe in my heart 100% students should be in school. I am a parent. My child goes to a Chicago public schools. I'm not asking parents or giving them an option to do something that I wouldn't do for myself. And I would not send students, my child or anybody else's child, back into a building if I didn't think it was safe. I think the harm that is being done by students not being in class every day is irreparable. Our kids were already struggling. They were struggling when they were going to school every day. Now, all of a sudden, remote learning is magical and kids are okay. That is simply not true. We got kids out here who aren't in good situations. We got kids out here who are finding other ways to occupy their time, and they belong in school. So let's start with that. If not now, when? So at what point is it okay to return to the buildings? We have to shift away from should they be in school and talk about how to do it and do it safely. Hold me accountable for doing it safely. But I am never going to be comfortable with kids being out of school. It's been almost a year.
Hey Chicago, it's Dawn Millhouse from the Book of Dawn. There's a lot of fake news about the COVID vaccine, just false information. So our station has joined the Protect Chicago team to help share the truth about the vaccine and dispel the rumors. I hear all the time, I've already had COVID. I don't need the vaccine. You're wrong. Get the facts by visiting the What's in It for the Black People Media page on Facebook and www.chicago.gov/COVIDVax. That's COVIDVAX. We're in this together, Chicago.
Listening to the most dangerous show in the morning. This is What's in It for the Black People Radio. Maze Jackson. Maze Jackson, the most vociferous advocate for black people in the world.
For Ruthie Moore, for Todd Stroger, I am the host of the Maze Jackson Show, asking every single day, what's in it for the black people? And if you don't like it, you can still tell them Maze said, Mayor Lightfoot, man, we ain't accepting that. We ain't accepting that. Let's go.
Yeah. Let's get down to business and go ahead and address the facts, man. Lightfoot seems more lesbian than black. Rahm Emanuel's another case, he was just as tired. 50 closed schools left much to be desired. Police had Anjanette naked on that body cam. They suppressed the footage so it couldn't touch a lot of hands. Reminds me of that 16 shots in that cover-up. Both of them similar, so I went and dug it up. George Floyd killed, a lot of riots happened in the town. Southside burned and they wouldn't let them bridges down. Grandmother sick, need a prescription and plus a couple groceries. You gon' have to travel just to get it now. COVID-19 out here shutting all the business down. Not enough SBA loans to even give around. So many failed businesses that you could put them in the pile. If you don't survive the pandemic, it's gonna sit you down. We sing, dance, play ball, entertain, and crack jokes. Government infested black neighborhoods with crack smoke. System to milk is so bad, we got lactose. Still trying to find out what's in it for us black folks. We sing, dance, play ball, entertain, and crack jokes. Government infested black neighborhoods with crack smoke. System to milk is so bad, we got lactose. Still trying to find out what's in it for us black folks. Shout out to Willie Wilson, hope one day you get to Senate. We need some different players in the game to handle business. Too many shady characters like Madigan and Blago. But when you really break it down, it's typical Chicago. City full of gangsters, it's what the land was built on. Same streets with hood legends, DNA get spilled on. Carjackers out here lurking, trying to get they steal on. Looking for a block to put them Hellcat wheels on. Let us give bogus appraisals a red line. Car crackers out here getting minimal fair time. And up the seal carry, I stay with the pipe. But Illinois gun laws giving minimal rights. Stay up on the swivel, make sure I'm moving tight. Check all of my mirrors when I pull up to the light. Pick my homie up from out of town, man, he caught a flight. He was hella nervous, told him, shorty, this is a way of life. We sing, dance, play ball, entertain, and crack jokes. Government infested black neighborhoods with crack smoke. System to milk is so bad, we got lactose. Still trying to find out what's in it for us black folks. We sing, dance, play ball, entertain, and crack jokes. Government infested black neighborhoods with crack smoke. System to milk is so bad, we got lactose. Still trying to find out what's in it for us black folks.
Wake up, Chicago! Wake up, world! This is the Mace Jackson Show. I'm your host, Mace Jackson. Got my co-host, Todd Stroger. Gotta say what's up to Sonia Escobar, flying the soul plane, and Ruthie Moore, who took a parachute. She was like, hey, I'm out. She put her parachute on, opened up the... jumped out.
That's pretty accurate.
And then she, because you see, she got it in her vest. You see, Ruthie she be rocking my swag. So she jumped out the window, put on had a super parachute, hit the ground, started running, hopped in the whip. She probably at the Zoom meeting now.
Hey, the way Ruthie talks, she always running.
All right, let me tell y'all something. I gotta give a big old super stupid shout out to YouTube. To everybody that is watching on the Mace Jackson page on YouTube, Todd, do you know right now over on YouTube there's over 124 people watching live?
Really?
Like right now?
Man, I watched The Clash on YouTube this morning, but I guess I'll have to switch to the Mace Jackson.
We actually 100.
Is it the Mace Jackson?
The Mace Jackson page. 137 people live. So I got because I've been. Yeah, yeah. Can y'all do me a favor? Can y'all make sure y'all like and subscribe the page, get the notifications, do all that stuff? Cause and actually, cause y'all leave y'all comments in the chat, and I don't get to see them afterwards. So if you leave the comments in the comment section, right? And you give me a thumbs up and a like and all that good stuff and share the broadcast. One of the things I stopped saying is, hey, y'all, take a moment, share the broadcast. So share it on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, on Twitch, on Periscope. But I'm going to do something today that I have not done in a while.
Uh-oh.
Which is say what's up to all, well, I'm going to say all, but shout out to Eves and Sheila and Way Too Shy and Dolores Duncan and Said the Trucker and Melissa with an A and into more. Shout out to Paul Jackson. Man, Paul Jackson seemed like you might be family. Clara Fitzpatrick, Ronald Lewis, Aaron X, Kathy Wiley, Anthony Robinson, Jerome Williams. What's that say? Lucha LeRae. Woo! Lucha LeRae. That sounds like a movie name. Shout out to Yama, Fernando, Prieto, Karen Tatum, Linnell Cooper, Brother Brown, H. Holmes. Shout out to Barbara Tate. I want to send a shout out to all the people who are over on YouTube that are kicking it live with us every day. They be talking about they be getting neglected.
I'm going to start putting comments in there.
You should start putting comments in there.
That
Go over there.
maze is mean.
Then you ain't going to get on the camera no more. Then they going to be talking to your voice. So I want to make sure. Also, do I need to go to Facebook too? Do I need to say what's up to all the people on Facebook? I feel like this. The What's in It for the Black People media outlet is growing tentacles. But what I need everybody on every platform to do is go like the page. Right? We got to get our weight up. All right? We need to get that up. Also, don't forget you can still donate to the Maze Jackson birthday fundraiser. We're over 7,000.
Wow. And Maze is 50.
Over 7,000. Shout out to Boosie. Shout out to Robin Patrice. Shout out to Kathy McLean.
Marvin Bell.
Shout out to Marvin Bell. You know Marvin be with us. Nah, wait.
Constance. It's
Kenny
my
Cool,
6 a.m.
Constance.
club.
Oh, your 6. All right, yeah. The people who wake up in the morning to get with us. Shout out to Dr. Audrey Tanksley. Shout out to Did we say Constance Foster? I know we did. That's the RO double. Hey, shout out to Loch Ness Monster too. If I said monster, then I'm trying to be in the video. Right? Right? I'm trying to be in the video.
You gonna be dancing in a bathing suit?
Nah, I'm gonna do like Ricky Hendon, and I'm gonna be in the boat that's being driven on the truck. Right? Ricky, I talked to Ricky Hendon yesterday too, man. That Ricky Hendon. Oh, shout out to Ricky Hendon. He sent the money for another TV so we could watch YouTube in here too.
Man, he doing well for himself. I have to move in his house.
He said Dan Prof played this song. The white guys get Dan that Rona money. My 10K. Shout out to Entwa Dumela Douglas. Shout out to, let me see who else out there. Who else out there that I miss?
Who you miss?
Shout out to Willie Preston is out there. Shout out to Carolyn Ray. What up to Mark Carter? Shout out to Mark. What's up? I ain't seen Mark what's up, Mark? I ain't seen you in a minute, man. Shout out to Felicia Simmons Stovall. Bolingbrook in the house. That's right. We go all the way back to Northview. Third grade.
Wow.
Shout out to Maria Munoz. Shout out to my girl Angela Kilpatrick. Keep your fingers crossed. I ain't gonna say nothing else. Shout out to Jumpin' Jack Flash. Paul Jackson, you doing the double duty. Moving from both sides to both sides. I think I got Kathy McLean. Okay, I got everybody.
Cletus Williams.
Cletus Williams. All right, Cletus. We appreciate you, man. I'm just letting y'all know, Devin Gordine.
Who?
Yeah, Devin guy coming in front of the disciplinary committee. Next, what's in it for the next what's in it for the black people committee. It's like, man, he went all outside the how you going? I ain't forgot about that, Devin. You know we gonna bring you up on charges too. How you gonna make the exec board and then go out the back door? Speaking of back door, anybody watch Week Wednesdays last night?
What?
Week Wednesdays.
Don't know that show.
Todd.
Is it on cable?
No, it's on our network. You know we got programming after 7 now.
Oh, about 7 o'clock. I'm thinking, it's almost time to go to bed. What should I do?
So you got. I'm gonna tell you now.
Is it like 4 people involved in that?
No, that was Brian. That was
okay.
In the Zone.
Oh, okay.
So In the Zone came on at 7 o'clock. Week Wednesdays came on last night though. Did we talk about this?
Can you talk about it on the air?
Yeah, I think we talked about it a little bit. And I'm gonna say we can't really talk. It's not as early as it was last time. But speaking of DJ, Lord. Todd, he did not do the Alphas any service yesterday.
Oh, he's an Alpha?
I left that alone though. I left it all alone. Yeah. Oh, Devin, Devin getting 30 to the left eye, no cover up. You can't even blink.
I don't know what that was. That was secret agent talk.
Nah, that's pumpkin hair rules. Devin went out the Devin. I'm still tripping on Devin. Like Devin get in. We elevate Devin to the exec board. And next thing I turn on TV and he outside rocking with the ops. And let me say it ain't no ops, right? Because everybody. But I also there's no ops on the network, and we appreciate the competition. But hold on, cuz.
I read all the comments.
I read all the comments too. Comment.
Say no names.
Comment. No. I read every comment. Well, unless I'm super busy. But I read the comments, and I pay attention to these things. Now, here I'm out here waving the flag. We need a brother on the team.
The world gonna open up soon.
Mm-hmm. Eventually. Everybody, it's okay though. I see you, Devin. It's all good. Yeah. Okay. So, y'all, what would you do if I told you that the NFL pays black people, former players less than white players for more concussion damage? Todd, have you ever heard of this thing called race leveling?
I'd say lawsuit. No.
That's what it is. It's actually right now in the NFL, 2 players are suing the NFL for what they call concussion discrimination. Concussion discrimination. So the NFL has a scale to which they pay based on how much mental damage, cognitive damage has happened to you. So they give you a test.
It's like workman's comp.
Okay.
Like if you lose a thumb,
there's a certain value.
Yeah, there's
right?
a value to that thumb.
Okay, so there's a value to how much cognitive skill you lose, and then they pay you based upon that.
That really sucks, doesn't it?
So check this out. See, so
is this like a pension? Or is this
remember when they came out with the concussions and they settled with the billion dollars they was going to pay former players, etc. So Najee Davenport and Kevin Henry are now suing the NFL because the NFL essentially pays white players more for less cognitive damage.
That's because their heads are more important than ours, right?
Well, here's what happens. The NFL essentially has a process called race leveling, right?
That sounds like a problem right there. I don't even know what it is.
But it's in the effort of fairness, right? Mm-hmm. So race leveling essentially says, okay, you take the test. You take a written test, and we're going to assess your how smart you are, right? And that's going to be the baseline for which we base, everything on cognitively. Now, they then take the race leveling, and so black kids who went to less prominent schools, who all the racial discrimination. So typically, a black kid on that test.
So if you went to Bolingbrook, you're gonna treat you a little differently than if you went to say St. Ignatius.
So if you, for instance, test and get say you went to CVS, and you got the white man's test that says this is how you spell, this is how you, unless you basically then come up with this score, and typically black people get a lower score on these tests. Now we already know there's bias in the test, etc.
Right.
So in their effort to level it off, they bring everybody up to the average. So they say, black guy, you got a 12 on the test, but for race balancing, we're going to bring you up to an 18 to treat you the same as everybody else. Well, now once they bring you up to that 18, they start to judge your cognitive skills from the 18, not the 12. And they pay out on your 18. So say 20 is the number where they're getting to. The black guy started at 12 and he got to 20, but they raised him to 18 to level him off, to equal him out with the white guys. The white guy started at 16 And so he gets paid on those 4 years, while the black guy who was at 12 lost 8 years, but they race leveled him. So now he's only getting 2. So essentially what winds up happening.
Well, this is complicated, but I think I got you.
Essentially what happens is black players who start at a lower test score get their score raised by the NFL in the interest of race leveling, to be fair, quote unquote, but then they use that number to pay against. So you lost 8 points of cognitive skill, but before they do it, they raise you up to equal you out with the white guy. And then essentially,
they're saying your education wasn't as good, so.
No, they're saying, right, it wasn't as good, so we're going to bring you up to the level of the white guys. But that level raising means that every level that they bring you up to level you off with the white guy, you lose, let's say, $100,000. So now the white guy who lost 2 makes $400,000, and you lost 8, but you make $400,000.
Right.
So essentially, the NFL pays black players less because across the average, black players typically score lower. Now, what happened was there was a string of emails among neuroscientists who said essentially, by following the NFL guidelines, we are essentially cutting out. We're using old terminology. You know how they used to be like, idiot is a real word?
Right.
So they're using historical standards based on the old white guys to judge these black people, not bringing it up to. So essentially, Todd, it was crazy to read this story because black players are now, who have been done more damage to, actually get less money than the players, than the white players.
Mm-hmm.
In the interest of being fair, in the interest of race leveling. But the race leveling essentially discounts all of the racial oppression. Is like, we're going to wipe all that away by bringing the number up. But then somebody smart says, well, good, if we bring them all up, we don't have to pay these guys who we've been sacrificing their bodies since 3rd grade and they've lost. We're only going to pay them for the 4 years they was in the NFL.
But they don't do that for the ACT, huh?
Right.
Huh.
They don't race level the ACT. They don't race level. So it is essentially, they have caused the damage and then come back and say, but we're going to pay you. We're going to treat you equally. You know how we always try to be getting treated fair? See how we got fared again?
Fair, yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah. I was also reading, I guess this all came drummed up because it's Super Bowl week and I'm super excited. And I'm still looking for people to give me recipes for hors d'oeuvres because I promise you I am going to make all the sides. It's like, ain't going to be no main dish. I'm just going to be picking all day.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Soon as we get through, I'm a picking it all day. Now, I was just reading the story of Martellus Bennett. Can I tell y'all, do y'all remember Martellus Bennett? He was the tight end for New England. That where I first found out about him was at New England. And actually, I think I saw him in college. But at New England, and then he played for the Bears during their championship run. And he was like a really good tight end. But he was the comic.
I thought that was his brother.
That's his other, Michael Bennett. Was his brother who played for the Seahawks.
Okay.
So Martellus, though, when he was here, he was always like not the typical dumb jock football player.
No, he wasn't that. That's
right?
true.
He was like, he did art and he did all types. He was all involved in stuff. And he wrote this article that I happened to check out the other day. And he was talking about what happens to black players once they're out of the league.
They go broke. I saw that ESPN special.
But it was more than that. So he ran through some of the things. He said the physical. He said that. So we look at football players, and I know we've heard this, but I was talking to my son about when he played football because he was kind of like half bragging. I was like, boy,
your son played football?
Yeah, no, he didn't. He was on the team, but he didn't play. But he was kind of halfway bragging about playing football, and I kind of brought him down a little bit. But the whole thing was there's this certain, in my mind, validation, male masculine validation that comes with football.
You know, St. Ignatius didn't have a football team when I was there. And I would say a quarter of the boys wanted to go to like Gordon Tech and Mendel. They wanted to get out of that school. Their parents forced them to go because they wanted to play football.
So he was talking about what happened to players after they left the league. And he was talking about first their physical goals. He was like, and is it really worth it? Right? Because the average player.
You mean the pain you suffer?
Just all of the stardom, everything that comes, all the glory that comes with football until the abrupt end.
Right. It's all over.
Like, I don't think there's
I ran into a U of I doctor who was a running back. He was a running back at U of I. I can't remember.
Camino Bell.
Okay. Really? Are you sure? I'm not certain if that was his name. Maybe there's more than one doctor, but
no. Okay, go ahead.
He's from Robbins. But either way,
Camino Bell.
He said he was doing a study.
Oh, Mike. Was it Mike Russell?
That's probably it, because it was something more that...
Mike Russell. Okay.
Yeah. He was doing a study on football players.
He ain't a doctor. Go ahead.
He isn't? Oh,
not Mike Russell.
He was doing a study on football players after they retire, and it was more of their mental state going down than their physical state from not being in the limelight, not doing that same old routines they all do. I thought it was very interesting.
So that's part of what he talked about. So he talked about the physical body breakdown, where like now you got a kid, but you can't raise him. He's 4 years old and you can't raise him over your head.
So I go to a golf outing and one of the old Super Bowl Bears is there. I can't remember his name. He was the tight end.
Emory Moorhead.
Yeah, it was Emory Moorhead, exactly.
I'm great.
So this is like 95. And I say, how are your knees? And he says, oh, my knees are fine. It's my shoulder. I can't lift my arm up, just like you're saying.
So this article was just so deep because he said the first part is you start to, even as a player, was it really worth it? Because you have to live the rest of your life in this state as a that
is my Facebook fight.
What?
About athletics. I fight with people all the time. I'm like, generally it's about basketball because black people just love basketball. And I'm like, even if you do become a pro, you're probably going to be in, Turkey or somewhere instead of the NBA. And then when you get out, you got to live the rest of your life.
So I think basketball is probably a little bit different than football, like in that
because
space.
Of the pain?
Because of the pain and the physical abuse. Like basketball, you might have bad knees or something like that. But like football, like we see all the people, but it's debilitating, right? Like mental, you got concussions, you got bad knees, you got broken fingers, you got all of this stuff.
I remember the running back, he was famous, if I could remember his name. He said, on Monday, I don't move.
I remember that. I it'll come to me. So let me get back to it.
Mm-hmm.
So he said physical body condition, right? All of those things that happen to your body, and now you're 30 and you can't do nothing. Right? Then he said you're mental. Right? And we just saw how the NFL settled these concussions. What they settled, like $1 billion or something along those lines. They paid out $800 million. But the concussions and the mental state and the fact of like now knowing all of these people that have killed themselves at the CTE and all of those things. And I'm going to be honest with you.
Remember Merrill Hodge when he got his last concussion with the Bears?
I feel like I do.
And then they I guess they felt obligated to keep him
right.
So they put him on the score, and he did stuff, but it was like he wasn't even there.
Exactly. Then the return to reality. And this one was the most stark to me. Because I don't think that there is a sport that you get more glory from than playing football. I know people love basketball, right? And basketball, you make the more money. But in my mind of sports, the football player is the ultimate in sports masculinity.
I think you got a point because they only play so many games.
Right. And, I mean, you think about high school basketball, high school football, like now high school basketball, but like when you think about football, football is the American sport. And if you are a standout athlete, a standout football player, they usually start, you know, that kid that's running around the team that is knocking people, right?
I asked Otis. He said 9 years old, he knew he was special.
Right. Right. Otis like, man, I was a man among boys. Mm-hmm. And I didn't care how small your kid was. I was eating them alive. Can't put them out there on the field because I was going to break them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But and at that point, somebody is piling on you. We see it with basketball, but let's just talk about football. And now, the more ferocious that you get, the more of, and everybody ain't a terrorist on the field, but you know what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. Like, you are celebrated for your brute physicality, and from the time that they have identified you at Pee Wee football, you are the man. And then, all of a sudden, it's all over. Like, at 30, over.
Right.
Over. Right? Like, you could have been you can go back to your high school, you can go back to your college, but now nobody cares. Because I was just thinking, like I was saying, Martellus Bennett was one of my favorite players.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot all about him until I read the article.
Right.
Right? And I was like, oh, damn, I really did like Martellus Bennett. He was one of my favorite Bears because he was always. And I was just thinking about all of that, and then thinking about the NFL and how they playing these people over these concussions. Now, hopefully there'll be a migration and they'll figure it out and fix it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll be honest with you. I wouldn't. Like, I feel like I kind of forced my son to play football. No, I really do.
What was he, in 8th grade?
No, he was in 6th.
Mm.
But I felt like, man, you need to get knocked around a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But then there was a certain point when it was like, dog, you're not growing at the same rate. And these dudes are like, and because I am Mr. What's in it for the black people, they knocking my son around on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that I could now say that, honestly, I would let my kid play football. Mm. As much as I love Super Bowl, as much as I love, I don't know. And then reading this story of Martellus Bennett, and I'm sure that it plays out for a lot of people. Like I see in Chicago, you see all the greatest, they was like during their time, they was the greatest basketball player in the history, and they was going to be the next man. And it's like Chicago has 300,000 of the greatest basketball players ever that didn't make it to the pros.
I've met so many playground legends. It's amazing.
And high school legends. And
yes.
Right? Like, and I think, like, I don't think of us as having playground legends as much as I think of us having high school legends.
You're right, because I've met some high school legends, like people like out in Aurora, and then you play with them and like, wow, they seem so regular. But in high school, they were monstrous.
Exactly. But football, I don't know, Todd.
College is a big thing. College football. I don't watch it on Saturday, but it dominates the.
Think about how many of those people, like, yeah, man, watching that story yesterday and seeing the NFL pay, knowing that the NFL is 80% black 70. And 70% black. And knowing that
I saw part of the article.
Okay. And 70% black, and they cut, and they're shortchanging them all. Let's just say they shortchanging the 70% by 10%.
Mm-mm.
Think about how much money they're making, and think about how many points we've lost from the NFL. Like, profiting off of the pain and suffering of black people. And because you come from nothing, right? They value the brains of white people more. Essentially.
And don't they say the Cowboys are worth like $3 billion or
Uh-huh.
something crazy?
And think about this. ain't no NFL contracts guaranteed unless you're the quarterback.
Right.
Right? And then they talked this. Oh, and then the other thing he talked about was.
And that's just the owners. They could guarantee him. They just don't want to.
They don't, right. They don't know how to. Then the other thing he said was they don't know how to make money.
You mean when they leave?
When they leave, and it's why you see them, like you see so many players. He was like, if you've been a star football player all your life, you don't know how to get no job. Right? You don't know how.
So should they get paid less so they have to work on the offseason and actually get some skills?
No, I think they should. If they go to the league, they should get a pension. And I think if they go to college, they should get a pension.
But, pensions don't start till you're 50.
So move it up, right? I mean, you pensions don't start till you're 50 because you work till then. If you know that there's a shortened life cycle.
I'm talking about sports pensions.
So I'm saying,
there are pensions for sports.
But but I'm saying in that whole process, it's just like we understand the difference. And you know that the black life expectancy is shorter. So if you know you're a black football player and you're only going to live to 54, then whoever's doing your collective bargaining need to be like, pensions need to start at 40 or 30, right? But I watching that story, it was crazy to see. And I think part of what got me about the story beyond the athletes per se was the justification, and the NFL said that it was totally misguided, but that they were like, we have used accepted historical standards or blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And I think about how many acceptable historic standards that nobody questions are inherently racist.
Right.
Right? It's like that ACT. When people say it's inherently biased.
Right.
Right? Like, how have we adapted to... So, I'm real ticky about this whole revisionist history, blah, 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 blah. But I also think, like, how much of, and this is where I got kind of deep with myself. And everything that I have learned, right, is through that viewpoint. Smart, fail, good, bad, right? All of it. Mm-hmm. You look through, like, when you learn psychology, when you learn to, everything that you look at, you've judged through their perspective. Like, I was just thinking about the history book and, like, not the history book, but the psychology book. Because these were neuroscientists saying, like, yeah, dog, we know that there's neurological differences and we know that there's historical data that shows that they act differently. Like, there's genetic differences in how we respond to certain things. And to read the neuroscientists say that, yeah, probably by the way we're doing this process, we are out. Like, the foundations of everything that we've learned have been based on people who thought we were less than.
Right.
Right? And then you learn it that way. Right? So my idea of smart comes through the perspective of a white guy. Seriously. And I wonder, how do we see, that to me is the fundamental issue as to why why we don't do as well as we should. Because I think that we inherently see ourselves as less than even when we build ourselves up.
Interesting. It's like, so when I thought of Muhammad Ali, I was like, man, that man is smart as a whip. He probably just needed something when he was young that wasn't available to help him be able to do something, read, cognitive, whatever. It just wasn't there for him. or he would have been like book smart as well as just being, you know, the man.
But that to me is us, right? Because it's like we adapt and we survive, and so our mind is readapted. Like, think about what you got to do to work, to live 40 years on this earth and never have a paycheck, have a family, have a crib, have everything, and never have gone to work, to a job. No, seriously.
I can't imagine.
But think about how ingenuitive.
No, like your dad, my dad was like, you're 12. Get out, do something.
Right. Like he was like, oh yeah, you got to shovel the snow. But we adjust, we adapt. That's why you can see the most sophisticated drug operations, I'm going to use that, that run just like a full-time business with shifts and measures and
you got to do everything to be successful, just like a business.
And it is a business. And quite frankly, really, even more successful. But I was just thinking.
But you're right. Man, I can't imagine being 35, never really have done anything, and now I've got to figure out what I'm going to do. I mean, how much golf can you play? I mean, I know the answer to that, actually. If you're in good health, you could play 18 holes a day, but like you're saying, athletes are going to have some kind of pain. They can't do that.
So now I guess my question becomes, how do we advance ourselves when we see ourselves, even when we're building ourselves up, through the perspective of, and are judged, not only by ourselves, but by our peers, black and white, through their assessments?
Where do they're not marginal players, but where do the average players go?
Who? What are you talking about?
Like, even if you're playing football, not even being average, the offensive linemen, I mean, you know, who really knows who they are? They just disappear one day.
Right.
Where do they go? What do they do when they leave?
Security at the club. No, I mean, usually offensive, like if it's a big white, so offensive linemen are commodities usually, but you know, they can find jobs. Like usually offensive linemen are usually like the guys that didn't get all the love and weren't great. So they had to do the book work. Right? Like offensive linemen, nobody's like, hey, you're 350 pounds. You're going to be, I'm talking about the running backs, the skill position players, blah, 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 blah. So I was just thinking,
there's a lot of fame in that too.
How do we, though, get ahead if we see ourselves through their perspective? Right? I was really thrown by the fact that
Marcellus is smart.
Huh?
Marcellus is really smart. Martellus, yeah, right. He's very smart. I mean, I like you said, I recognize that because he was always talking. But the average guy is going to be average. They're not going to think like him. I don't know. How do we get out of that?
I mean, and I think it's just reading that was just pretty insightful.
Yeah.
Right? It was just a great perspective.
A beam of light hit
I
you.
would love to the bigs need to get him. Like the bigs need to reach out to Martellus Bennett and have that conversation. Right? Like that's a whole, I'd love to know like what happens after the lights go off.
Right.
Like that, I would love to hear the bigs talk, because you know they talk to a lot of high school celebrities, but talk to like, can you imagine peaking in high school?
Yeesh. Like I'll say it. Randy, I used to play basketball with Randy Brown. So Randy Brown, he did some outside stuff, but his goal is to be like a GM for a basketball team. So he got into the basketball thing. But very few people can do that because there's all these other people who are in
there's all the white guys who didn't play basketball who went to school to be GMs.
Yeah, right. So it's a small space. So yeah, where do all the rest of those people go?
Yeah, man. Well, Randy Brown is still coaching, I think. So, he's still working. I was just thinking about it all. Just tossing it around. You know what, Sonia? Play the audio from Obama.
From the beginning, Michelle and I knew there was only one place for the Obama Presidential Center, the south side of Chicago.
Then why do we have to be
It's where I met Michelle, just a couple of miles from where she grew up, where Sasha and Malia were born, where I became a community organizer and won my first election. The past 12 months have been among the most challenging in our history. I know they've hit Chicago hard, particularly for residents on the south and west sides who've shouldered devastating health consequences from COVID-19, faced higher unemployment rates, and more. But hopefully, 2021 offers a turning point for our nation and our city. And we also hope that the groundbreaking of the Obama Presidential Center can be an important part of that change. The center will create jobs and economic opportunity, especially for Southside residents, because we believe the team that's building the center should look like the community it calls home. And through the museum, the center will be a place to honor history while inspiring young people to write chapters of their own, giving them the tools, resources, and connections they need to create change in their own communities. Today, with the conclusion of a careful federal review process that spanned several years, we're ready to get to work. Through this process, we've shown that our plans for the Obama Presidential Center, including new gardens, playgrounds, walking trails, and bike paths for all to enjoy, won't just preserve historic Jackson Park. They'll bring opportunity and breathe new life into the community we love. Getting to this point wouldn't have been possible without the folks in the community who have been a part of this process along the way. Michelle and I want to thank you for making this project even better. A space for the community, built in partnership with the community. We know that by working together, we can unlock the Southside's fullest potential and help set up our city, our country, and our world for even better years still to come. Thanks, everybody. We look forward to seeing you soon.
Todd, they are breaking ground apparently in September on the Obama Presidential Center, OPC.
Hawaii was too far.
Right. So first of all, he said there was only one place. I sure remember a whole bunch of articles from New York and Hawaii, and he ain't talking about splitting it up and a whole bunch of stuff.
He didn't want to compete with the Clintons in New York.
And then, so let me start by saying that I am not tripping on the Obama Center. Like Jackson Park ain't my park. Yeah, y'all want to give up your park? Give up your park.
It's my park. I golf once a week.
You used to.
No, I still. Well, yeah. I ain't going now.
Well, you're right. Now you know Tiger Woods coming through too.
Yeah.
So you better.
I hope I'll be able to afford it.
You better get that in now. You better get that part of the community benefits agreement.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of that, what happened to the community benefits agreement? Did that ever happen?
I'm pretty sure I saw something just the other day said that they're still working on it. Not that I know what that means.
So Todd, how does that work when you working on it you see the bulldozers moving? We working on a community event.
Right. Once they got a company out there, they're like roaches. It's hard to get rid of them once they start.
Right. Community benefits agreement. We told y'all this is gonna benefit your community.
Gotta have hope, guys.
And the neighborhood will change.
Hope.
And the neighborhood will change. So you get hope and change. It was interesting because he kept saying by the community. You heard how many times he say community? I should have counted that like 7, 8, 9 times. Also, he had to lead with this is where Michelle grew up because he already know. It's a whole bunch. The great mafia went to the forefront during the Obama era.
What's the gray mafia? Oh.
Think about it though.
My dad was not always
politically correct. Did he call them mulattoes?
Yes. Yeah, basically that's exactly what it was.
Oh, God.
He said, "How's your mulatto cousins doing?" They're all right.
Who, me? So it was funny because I was thinking about how many times they said by the community, South and West Sides, blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. Right? Then you go read the story and you read about the Lakeside Alliance and how they are, how they're going to be leading the construction. That's what you read, and that's what you like. You listen to the video, and then you read the Sun Times, because black people read the Sun
Times. Yeah, that was my
So I happen to, I actually caught the story in Cranes. When they started talking about construction, you know what they said?
What?
Lori Healy heads up construction.
Of course.
No. They told us that the Lakeside Alliance was handling the construction.
Lori Healy is a front person for who? I mean, she's the head of a company or a spokesperson for who?
Clark Construction.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. So we're at the Lakeside Alliance so I need like Tamiko or somebody super smart to tell me the difference between leading the construction and a construction manager. Because apparently the Black Lakeside Alliance, their job is to make sure that 50% of the subcontracts go to diverse subcontractors. I don't know how this works. We're gonna have to get somebody on from the Lakeside Alliance. They're gonna have to explain.
So they're
this
like the project manager?
So who's the boss? Who's the boss? That's what I want to know. Because according to Cranes, when they come to the black people, it be like the black people, and they be like, we are going to make sure it say Lakeside Alliance. That's when they come to the black people. But when you read the white people business magazine, Cranes is where the white people talking about the money be at.
Right.
They was like, don't y'all worry about them Negroes over there. Lori Healy got this thing in construction. We trust her.
Oh, well,
we know her all the way back.
Charge.
We go all the way back to the Daily Era. Now, she knows how to keep the Negroes in line. And they going to chop up. They going to, right? Who is in charge of the community benefits agreement?
You know how those
numbers... No, I want to know who is in charge.
You know how those numbers are going to fall out, though.
Yeah, it's going to be 3 Asian security firms. No. We going to have construction. Well, first of all, because they didn't have an ADO, descendants of American slavery, and so diverse is one of them fancy words for everybody but the Negroes.
Yeah,
I'm saying that if the black people 50% are the subs, who are the primes?
That's John Rogers. That's his thing, is that his company has grown and he's wealthy and it's worth all this money, but he can't get he's still not as big as like
Mesero. No, he's not big enough because we get the Negro share.
Right. Basically,
and even
that's what he's fighting, the Negro share.
And yeah, but then he can't be passing it out when he on the board. Right? Like, you can't be fighting about the Negro share when it's you, but so all I'm saying is, I know I done seen some black construction companies that can build some tall buildings. But I'm telling you, when you have a divided allegiance,
but isn't that
you can enjoy.
Everybody's not on the same side, though. I mean,
you
think they are.
Black people on the subcontractor side. Who's the black prime? Don't tell me.
There's only one prime, right? How's that work?
It depends on how many phases they do it. They can do whatever they want to do.
Well, I guess.
So I'm saying they building multiple buildings. Who's the prime on that building? See, the subcontractor means that we gonna chop up. Here's all the big stuff, right? I'm in charge of now as construction managers. Did they pick the primes? Because in the Sun-Times and the Tribune, and when they come to President Obama, they say the folks that build it got to look like it, right? Lori Healy don't look like it. Now, all I'm suggesting is that there are 2 narratives, right? There is the narrative that they push through PR to the black community, where they come through and they march all the black folks through. Look, when I went to go look, because I was like, well, dang, maybe we can get some opportunities. Maybe they'll advertise for the hiring fair or whatever. It's going to be a community hiring fair, right? Maybe we can get some of that advertising. But then when I went to go look, you know who they told me I had to call?
Who?
Not Sandra. not Renee, not Shauna, not Tifa, not Ruthie. You know who I had to call?
Who?
Nick Zamorsky.
Oh. Huh.
You think if I call Nick Zamorsky, he's going to be like, oh, I know about what's in it for the black people?
Probably not.
Right? When you call up Nick Zamorsky, I mean, like, how does it always wind up? Like, they got the blackest website ever, and it's still you got to call the white boy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why do I got to call the white guy to talk to black people? Help me understand that. Please. Now, I am excited for my guy, Mike Strapmanis. I am excited that they finally are going to move the project forward. I'm not against the Obama Center at all. I'm not. I don't. It's like, really, I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think y'all going to be mad when y'all can't have y'all chosen few. But that's a whole nother thing. I'm going to be barbecuing at the Obama Center. Remember, they said they was getting grills.
Mm.
But I do think that it's difficult for... I've been in the meetings where they come up with the creative solutions as to how do we address this situation.
Mm-hmm.
And when I see it roll out, they got to not put... What y'all got to not do is put in the white people paper, because some of us read the white people business journal and say Lori Healy's in charge, and then march out the black people to be like... Because when you read what they say, they be like, she's in charge. They get to pass out the small deals. Now, I'm not saying we ready for the big deal. But don't, what they say on me, and then call it rain. It's the Maze Jackson Show. So, for Maze and Sonia and Ruthie, who jumped out the plane, and Todd, I am the host of the Maze Jackson Show, asking every single day, what is in it for the black people? And if you don't like it, you can still tell them. Maze said, we out of here. Peace.
What's in it for the black people? What's in it? What's in it for the black people? I'm in it. What's in it for the black people? What's in it? What's in it for the black people? I'm in it. For the black people. 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 What's in it for the black people? Let's hear it. What's in it for the black people? Don't fear it. What's in it for the black people? Let's hear it. What's in it for the black people? Don't fear it.
WIIFTBPM